These games today. I am the TrueDarxil Mac, and I will be your play-by-play and colorcaster for these games of the Demacia Cup. We are very far into this game at 16 minutes 50 seconds into IM versus OMD, and it's actually going rather in the favor of IM. With the only 2 kills on the side of OMD over onto Lucifer on that Thresh. So really not the person who we want to start snowballing on their side. And the Camille getting very strong in the top lane, does have her Ninja Tabi, have that Tiamat available building into that Trinity Force, will have that Trinity Force power spike coming up very soon. So that's very good for to see on the side of IM. Looking at the warding, lots of warding throughout the map. OMD actually having quite a lot of wards in their own side jungle, in the bottom side quadrant, meaning that they really want to get all that vision down on their own side so that they won't be cut out in their own jungle and just be blown up, since they are at such a disadvantage at this stage in the game. Karma mid lane, a little unusual. We have seen Faker play it before over in the LCK, but it isn't quite working out as of yet, going with that Chalice as the first item, as they do go onto the Rift Herald. Baron will be spawning in 2 minutes time, so this will help them with the push. They won't really be able to do much to try and stop this, since it will go directly onto the tower. Once they do place it down, it will be donated over to the Camille, which will be a great buff to her. She is 3-0 at this point in the game, so really great buff to go over to her at this point. She does have her Sheen, which means she will be dealing so much damage. I find it quite unusual to see a Jax being picked up in a professional play. Really strong in solo queue, as we all are very much aware, I'm sure. We have all been against solo queue Jax in the top lane, just dominating, going maybe 17-5 in games. Even then, it would be quite poor of a Jax. So I'd like to see him start to snowball. Does have that Trinity Force, will be able to fight Amazing J's Camille eventually. Once he starts to get further itemizations, he does have that Corruption Potion, which is a little more of sustain at the start of the game. Won't really help him do a huge amount of damage until maybe later on, when he has further items. He only has that 1 item power spike so far, as Infernal Drake does go over to the side of IM. Thresh almost caught out there. Amazing J is actually caught out on his own a little bit further away, but does force the flash out of the Thresh. Glacial Fissure does get used, but they're locked into this team fight as Thresh does hook in the Brown. Nothing really used on the side of OMD yet, as Azul does get caught out by Amazing J, forcing Flash over the wall by the Brown. They are looking for the chase. Flash away from Azura. He's kind of caught out. Daisy is looking for to get the procs of the cupcakes down. Does get the 3rd proc. Does knock him up, but Thresh is there with the Lantern as everyone disengages from this fight. So if we look at the state of the game right now, that's another kill over to Camille. So she's really doing such a hard snowball here, as Jax got caught out in that fight. Azul was really out of position there. He got maybe a little bit cocky because he is a Jax, does have that helicopter to prevent those auto attacks from coming down, will do that extra damage and lock up the Camille, but he can't really 4v1 at this point. I really don't think, with the Camille being so fed in this game, that he can really 4v1 at any point at all, as Thresh does hook in Amazing J. He is in quite a lot of trouble, but he will manage to get away. Does have the Ashe as support, does get locked down though. Xinjiao is going very low as he does go down to Azul. Azul picks up his 1st kill of the game. He will maybe start to snowball here, as Amazing J is being chased down by Azul and the rest of the team, but he does have Ivor there as help. He does use that hook shot to get away. He will have that mobility as Jax decides to teleport back to his bot lane tower. It will be very heavily pressured in that bot lane because of that huge wave that they did leave in that bot side tower to chase away Amazing J. But this is a hook into the fight from Amazing J. Does use that Hextech Ultimatum, gets an easy kill onto Cat Jungle. He's chasing onto Baka. Baka is not in a good position here. He has no mana to try and follow up this. That's a huge amount of damage coming out from Amazing J. He will be able to fight this underneath the tower. That's going to be a double kill over to Amazing J, looking for the triple, as Casual cannot really fight this. He has damage, he has his helicopter, but he has no life. That's triple kill over to Amazing J. That's great. 8-0 for a Camille. And that's an ace coming out for IEM. This can spell the Baron. It will spell the Baron. They do go over to that Baron pit. They do have the Feral Drake, so they'll be doing so much damage onto this Baron. It will be bursted down so quickly. No one will be able to contest this from the side of OMD. They do have their Graves alive. Thresh is alive now at this point, but Baron is down. Baron is taken. That's a 5-man Baron over to IEM. And look at the goal differential at 22 minutes into the game. There is a 7k, almost a 7k goal difference. As we look at that replay again, Hextech Ultimatum goes down onto Cat Jungle. He just gets locked into that fight. Shockwave, I think, was used by the Orianna as well. And Baka has no mana to try and follow-up damage slowed down Amazing J here, and Lucifer really can't do anything. He's not tanky enough. He doesn't have any offensive stats whatsoever, but Casual does use his helicopter, does try and lock him up, try and get that damage down, but Orianna's there to help him out. As another fight breaks out, Lucifer does get knocked up by that Glacial Fissure, does get the concussive stacking, but nothing really happening there. They will get this tower really quickly, really easily. They do have those Baron powered minions wailing down in the mid lane, so collateral damage does come out, does hit Daisy, gets her very low, forces the flash out of Cat Jungle. Cat Jungle really can't fight under a tower with all these aggressive champions there. Ash Arrow does go aside as Cat Jungle does dodge away from it. Whiffed hook coming out from Lucifer as they do get the mid inhib, will back away using this Baron empowered recall, but Jax is pushing in the top side, so someone will have to go and answer that, as a huge wave is pushing in the bot side as well, as Mason Jane gets another kill. That's going to be his 9th kill of the game. Caitlyn is in a bad position there. Flash aggressively from the Orianna, does pick up the kill in the end. Lucifer will go down. That's a double kill for that Orianna in the mid lane. They will be able to close this out, as Jax is he's recalling far too little, far too late. Will get there just as the Nexus will be going down. That is the game over to IM. So that was a very convincing win for IM. I think it's really fair to say that was such a convincing win. They really, I'm fairly sure this is a best of 3. I'm not quite sure. This will be going into game 2 at least, so it's most likely a best of 3. Could be a best of 5, but they should not give Camille over to Amazing J for the second game. I would be very surprised if they were to give that Camille over to Amazing J, because he snowballed so hard in that game. I'm not quite sure why he snowballed so hard, because I didn't see the first 16 minutes of the game, and he was already, I think, 4-0 when I came into the game. But it is Camille. Camille is so snowbally, very powerful pick, even after the nerfs. And on this patch, with the junglers, with more of the top lane meta being shifted around, with Maokai being shifted more to the support or jungle role rather than the topside role, Camille really has, I think, shifted in priority and become more of a priority in that top side. So really not surprising to see Camille being picked up for Amazing J. Amazing J is really good at those carry champions, and Orianna was there and had that ball delivery system in the Camille, so she had that, could deliver the shockwave, get the team fights that they want, because just deliver the ball, use the Hextech Ultimatum, use the shockwave, and everyone is blown up. Or at least that one pick. They have such a good pick comp, such a good team fight comp too. So very good drafting from the side of IM. Not quite sure what changes will come out from OMD for the next game, but we'll just have to wait and see as we can check out this replay here. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Demacia Cup. I am, of course, TheTrueDarxil Macoan, and I will be with you for the next game, and the game after, and then the next best of three for tonight's Demacia Cup games. And we had an interesting first game between OMD and IM, with a very decisive win for IM, as we will be getting into Champions League very soon for game 2 of this best of 3. I am expecting quite a change up in the drafting for OMD because of the fact that they gave Camille over to Amazing J, and Amazing J snowballed so hard on that champion. I'd like to see that banned out or prioritized on the side of OMD. But we'll just have to wait and see if they will indeed do that, or if they will look for to maybe counter pick and go for maybe a tank in that top lane, such as the Poppy, which is really historically played favorably into that Camille matchup. And MVP did in fact go over to Amazing J, going 9-0-2 in that top lane, 180 farm, 18,662 damage in that game. Very well done for him, and very impressive the way that he played. And he still played with his team and didn't overextend or do anything really that badly or that much of a misplay in the game. He went a little ham towards the end, but he was really well fed and superbly damaging Camille. So you can't really blame him for going ahead and going a little ham and be able to just show off a little bit because he was so fed on that Camille. So we will be going into Champion Select very, very soon, hopefully for Game 2 of this best of 3. And I would like to see something similar coming out from the side of IM, since they did have the Orianna in the mid lane, and that would have that ball delivery system with the Camille. We do have a little bit of technical difficulties here as the stream does have to reboot itself, but it is back in action. I'd like to see another hard CC AD carry in the bot lane, such as that Ashe. There's not very many hard CC AD carries like the Ashe, other than maybe the Varus, but I'd like to see something like that because it really lent that much utility, that more CC to the team comp. We had the Thresh as well, which also did very well, but that was on the other side, I think. But we will be going into Champions Select right now, so we'll just stow this hypothetical talk. I will check out these picks and bans as they are starting to come out. We do see the Z prioritized on the side of OMD, taking that away from Athena, someone who is known for those mid lane assassins, very high damage, high risk, high reward champions, since they will be going in and out, darting all around the place and trying to get the damage down, try and stay alive. And it's very good for those pick comps, so really something that they don't want to go up against, since they really did so badly against it in the last game, having that pick comp of the Orianna Camille combo, especially paired with the Ashe arrow, which has such hard CC. Just chain that CC up, use that giant crystalline arrow, mix that in with the shockwave, get that Hextech ultimatum down, just blow them up. They'll already probably be dead before then, but it's still a lot of CC to deal with, and one QSS would not be enough. So we do see a change up actually here with Talia and Kennen being banned away. I'm not quite sure what happened there, because I do not read or speak Chinese, and nor do I have the sound on at all. But we do see Ivern also being banned away. Very high priority in some professional circles, with having seen that being picked and banned in SKT versus G2, and heavily prioritized by G2 on the European circuit, and getting them to victory actually in their in their spring split finals there in Hamburg. We do see LeBlanc coming out as another ban, very high priority, because even though she has been nerfed quite a lot in the last few patches, she is still a high amount of damage in that mid lane. She has that utility, she has that amount of hard CC, that high amount of damage as well, can duck and dive, weave and dodge about the place. So if you are a high elo player such as these professionals obviously are, it's a very good champion to get your hands on. So we do see another ban coming out will be the Fizz. Obviously a flex pick can go to casual in the top lane, also go to Baka in the mid lane. So very much a flex pick there with that shredding ability in the top lane if it were to go over to casual, or that high damage in the mid lane if it were to go over to Baka. So very much a good ban to be picked up there on the side of IM. So it looks like the side of OMD lost a ban there. I'm not quite sure why, but they did lock in a ban for the Z earlier on. Perhaps that was a mistake, or there's some competitive ruling. Not that I can really comment fully on that since I have no one to go ask, but I'm fairly sure that it would be some form of competitive ruling that would allow for them to not get that first ban. Ashe and Lulu, very good bot lane, very high damage, high poke bot lane, and will be able, I should say, to keep that Ashe alive, give her that extra movement speed with the Whimsy, be able to use that Glitter Lance to get that early poke down. We do see high priority for Lucifer to pick back up that Thresh they got in the last game. Got those heat-seeking hooks very well done in the last game, as Syndra does go over to Baka in the mid lane. So they're really showing their colors in this early part of the draft, as Elise instantly gets locked in on the side of IM. So they will really be high prioritizing in the second ban phase. They will be high prioritizing the mid lane bans on the side of OMD, and they will be high prioritizing the jungle bans on the side of IM, because they have already picked up their bot lane and they've picked up their jungle. So they will be actually banning out the Fiora, known counter pick, into the Camille. So this could be indicative of them wanting to pick up that Camille. OMD should be able to read this fairly easily, as Echo does get banned on their side. I'd like to see Camille being banned out by OMD, because they got so really easily, not necessarily easily, but so convincingly destroyed in that last game by Amazing J on that Camille. Obviously, Lulu can be a little bit flex pick, can go over to support, can go to the top lane, and can go to the mid lane. So really, I would expect it to go over to Road in that bot lane as that support, as Orianna does get locked in for Athena, and we do see the Camille ban coming out, which is a great thing to see. I like that OMD did it. I'm questioning a little bit why they left it so late in the pick and ban phase. I'd like to have seen them do that in the first part of the pick and ban phase, just in case IM wanted to pick it up in the first rotation, or in the first part of the pick and ban phase, I should say, as Ezreal gets locked in. Very interesting AD carry to be picked into the Ashe and Lulu bot lane. It's very good for that mobility. With that Arcane Shift, we'll be able to move about, jump about the bot side, and jump about the entire map really throughout the game. Plays really well with the Thresh, but they will be pushed in heavily in the early part of the game. So it'll be very interesting to see how that lane actually works out. We'll have to stack that tier as well. So they will have to play for the mid to late game rather than the early part of the game, as it does get GP locked in on the side of OMD for casual. They will be looking to lock in perhaps the Kled. Kled plays very well into that Gangplank, because Gangplank will have the barrels, but will be trying to stack up his serpents to try and get that extra utility out of his ultimate, more damage, more perhaps a movement speed from the different things that you can put onto the ultimate. So we'll just have to wait and see how he prioritizes that. I think he'd prioritize Depth's Daughter. It's very much the priority that we see in solo queue from the professionals, at least on the western part, towards NA and the EU, as the entire rosters do get locked in for both teams. It's going to be a very interesting game. Really want to focus on the top lane with Kled and Gangplank. Kled, very much that tank shredder in the top side, does have Skarl, can really rotate around that. Amazing J is a really good top laner as well. Athena back on that Orianna, and he was so good with it, and does have that ball delivery system in Amazing J. So really, again, superb drafting from IM. they are really thinking out how they want to do this. They have that initiator. Macy J's got to just dive in, use his ultimate, just charge in, put the ball onto Amazing J, Athena, then shockwaves. Then they can get the damage down onto the enemy team using everything that they have. They have the Ash Arrow as well. We'll be able to lock them down. They will have the wild growth from the Lulu. Will keep anyone that they want to prioritize alive. Most likely will be the Ash, but you never know. It could be the Kled, could get very low. They have that early priority jungler, early gank potential jungler in the Elise, but so do the side of OMD with that Lee Sin. Both very early game junglers, so we'll just have to wait and see how this will actually work out for them. Ladies and gentlemen, we are onto the rift for game 2 of this best of 3 between OMD and IM for the Demacia Cup. So we do see this pretty standard 5-man spread coming out from both teams, with pings coming out all across the map from IM. They are, of course, up 1-0, so they have that little 1-game buffer between losing, because they can lose one game and then win another game and they could still come out ahead. We do see a little bit of showing, posturing sort of a little bit aggressively there, showing themselves. Does get that volatile spider, does explode in his face, does a little bit of damage, won't really render him having to go back, having to recall. They will be going he will be looking to rotate maybe to his Raptors. It's a very common start, not necessarily for a Lee Sin. Might start off with his E, get that extra damage down early for that AoE, and he does have Syndra, will be able to put the ball down in the Raptor camp. We'll be able to give him an early leash that way. But Ben 4 will be starting off on his red buff, does have that ward, will be spotted out by Cat Jungle, I should say, as bot lane. Pretty standard start as well. They will be posturing defensively around their own turrets, as Macy does give quite a nice leash to his jungler. Gangplank already in lane, does start off with that Sapphire Crystal. Will be looking to go for that early sort of utility, go for that Sheen, most likely the Sheen, into that Trinity Force, go for that high early damage. But Kled does have his Doran's ring, his Doran's shield, will be able to mitigate some of that damage, as Ashe has picked up the Doran's shield as well. Interesting that she decided to pick up the Doran's shield for this Ashe, for this matchup, because of the fact that they should win this matchup so easily, because they have the higher poke, higher damage early game, with the Lulu Ashe lane. So I found it quite interesting that he decided to go for that Doran's shield rather than go for the Doran's blade. We'll just have to wait and see how that does work out for him, though, as 200 gold not even between the two teams because of the CS. Kled is dominating in that top side so far, really getting that pressure down, does have more than double the CS so far, as we do see an early counter jungle coming out from Ben 4, and they really will not be spotted out by this. Cat Jungle is in that top side by that blue buff, so we do see Ben 4 will be able to take away these Krugs from Cat Jungle, as bot side of OMD is being heavily pressured under this tower, but they will be able to farm up with relative ease. So he will be looking for maybe to go for an early gank here. They will be able to push into tower. They are heavily pushing into tower, so they are looking for an early gank here. Double buffs is onto Ben 4, does miss the cocoon though, will be looking to go onto Azure, does repel up tower. Ooh, that's a lot of damage going onto Road, does have to flash. Ignite does go down onto Ben 4, will be ticking, but doesn't quite have enough, and they will be able to disengage this, but that was a very poor dive from IM. And in the mid lane, both going very low. That's a flash for flash, and misses that Sonic Wave. That could have spelled the end if he got the Sonic Wave onto Athena there, but Athena just manages to dodge away from it. But that's a flash for flash. Athena used her flash, and Cat Jungle also used his flash. So very, very even trade there, with both mid laners having cleanse so they do not want to get locked up by that CC that they know the enemy team will have plenty of. But Baka very low, and in comes Ben 4 looking to, he does get Cocoon down, does use that cleanse, will get a lot of damage down, doesn't get the repel down onto Baka though, decides to not go for that dive. He doesn't have the help there, as Flash and Ignite has been used by Road, does get Azure to back away, almost gets the kill as well, but doesn't quite have enough damage, will decide to back away, help his AD carry siege in this bot lane tower. Not really much else that they could really do. Lucifer's trying his best to defend it, but they will be able to get lots of damage actually down onto it. But in comes Cat Jungle looking to help defend it, down to almost half health on that tower. We do see that Ben 4 did pick up that Rift Scuttle in the bot side jungle, does have that extra vision. Cat Jungle will get spotted out. He does get that symbol overside, which means that he has been spotted. Took away most of the Raptors, which is so sad to see, just that one tile of Raptor being available for Cat Jungle, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, as they will be trying to clear out some of the vision there. Control ward in the Tribush in the bot side, as that Rift Scuttle vision does go away, that shrine does disappear, doesn't last forever. Pinging out across the map on IEM, none really coming out from the side of OMD, but they do have superior vision on the side of OMD at the moment, as TP does get used by Demacia to go to the top side. That's no TP available on either side, but one summoner is available for each mid laner in the mid lane, as they're looking to group around this mid lane. Control wards being tossed back and forth, does really fight for this vision in the early part of the game, as gold is actually very even between these two teams, really prioritizing that early tankiness in that top side. As Barrage does come down, does use that that Scare of the Week, does try and get the stun down, as Ben 4 does go down. First blood over to OMD, does get picked up by Lucifer though, not what you want to happen, does not want to go over to the support, but does help the team out anyway, as Syndra does pick up the assist. And they're looking to counter engage here, counter jungle, over to the side of IM. Will take away the Raptors, is Raptors for Raptors, so all's fair in love and war. Might be able to take the red buff as well, which will be spawning relatively soon, but in comes Elise looking for it to try and steal it back. Does ward hop over the wall, but Demacia is still looking for more. Does use that ultimate, burns that ultimate away, but does scare him away from the Raptors. Will be able to get that back over to Ben 4, and does alleviate that pressure in that side of the map. So really well done, as Shockwave does get used, does get back down to very low health. He doesn't have the mana to try and follow up and try to actually fight Athena on this, as Athena does get his health back, does have that last chapter with that level up, does get some of that mana back, will be able to put extra pressure on this mid lane, as Cat Jungle and Lucifer look to try and maybe make a play in the bot side. That is 3 versus 2 in the bot side if they chose to make that play. But they do have superior vision on the side of IM. Will spot him out if he were to try and make a move there. They do have a ward in that river. No priority really going over to the Drake in this early part of the game. 200 gold just about between these two teams in favor of OMD. And it is a Cloud Drake, not really the highest priority of Drakes, more of the Mountain Drake or the Infernal Drake that would really be the high priority. Ocean and Air kind of fall to the wayside. Ocean higher priority than Ocean is higher priority than the Cloud Drake is. Cloud Drake just gives you out of combat movement speed, so really not exactly what you want to go for, what you really want to prioritize in this early part of the game. And I'd like to see later on, when Rift Skull starts to spawn, how this will really start to affect the map, because since the rework for the Rift Scuttle, not the Rift Scuttle, the Rift Herald, apologies, the Rift Herald really gives you so much map pressure. Once you have it, you don't know where the enemy is going to put it down. So it almost guarantees a turret once you have that Rift Herald, because once you put it down really near the turret, it'll just dominate that lane. You can also put it down, TP to another lane, put pressure in multiple lanes at once. So we do see that happen quite a lot in professional play, as it is a 3v3 in the bot side. Cocoon does land, Cannon Barrage does come in, they're looking to make a play. Ash Arrow does get the disengage they're looking for, but they're looking for more. Do use that Sonic Wave, does get in, Wild Growth does get used onto the Ash. Ash does stay alive, but they do get the disengage that they're looking for. They do not want to take this fight, they want to take it on their own terms. So really good disengage from them there. That was a great Ash Arrow from Jin Zhao. So really well played on the side of IM. But looking towards the top side again, very interesting matchup, very even. Looking to go for that early Trinity Force, did go for that early Sheen that I was talking about earlier on. Very even in farm, as I said, but looking for that early tankiness on Amazing J because he knows he cannot 1v1 him at this early stage. So he went for the Ninja Tabby, went for the Doran Shield start because he knows he's going to be poked out of lane so much. And especially with the high damage coming out with that Sheen early build, because he did go with Sapphire Crystal as his starting item. So he knows how to itemize, how to prioritize his build path for this matchup. And we see it in the junglers as well, because Cat Jungle knows that he's going to be fine in the top side. Casual does not really need the help because he will win this lane no matter what at the start, in the first 15-20 minutes perhaps. And Ben 4 knows that Amazing J is going to be in a losing matchup in this top side because there's nothing he can really do against the amount of damage coming out from the parlay of the GP. So he's putting the priority in other lanes, prioritizing the mid lane, prioritizing the bot lane. So we can really see that coming out from both junglers. They both teams understand these matchups so well, and we really see that in the cross map pressure. So again, looking at the vision throughout the game, more priority actually from IEM in the top side, towards the blue quadrant of the enemy jungle of OMD. They do have the Rift Skull vision there. They have that bush vision by Baron Pit. They have 2 wards in that blue quadrant as well. So they're really prioritizing counter jungling. They really want to try and get a pick onto the gangplank, try and snowball that top side, try and get Amazing J snowballed like in the last game. In comes Amazing J though, looking for the pick onto Casual, does get the bear trap on a rope. Ben 4 is there as well. They will be chasing under the tower. Does actually have a lot of damage here. Flash for Flash. He does have the bear trap on a rope. This will be a solo kill over to Amazing J. Very well done by him. He gets his Tiamat, gets the damage, and he just knows this matchup so well that he knows that even with the trading force from Gangplank that he has, that's a Flash Flay, and that's great Flash, and that's another disengage coming out from Jin Zhao. That's a Wild Growth, will keep him alive. That's a Flash from, Road doesn't help him out enough, doesn't have enough heal, doesn't have enough from his ultimate to keep him alive. That's a kill over to Lee Sin, but they will be able to pick up on the opposite side of the map this Rift Herald, which will do so much. They will just place that down in the top side on that turret, will wail down that turret, so they'll get cross map pressure from that place. So they're really thinking about the macro game here. That's another kill over to the Lee Sin. I mean, that's his first kill. That's another kill over to OMD, but they're gonna get map pressure from that Rift Herald. They might put it down in the mid lane instead to get that mid lane pressure. Mid lane pressure is so important at this early stage because it'll open up Dragon Pit and Baron Pit, as that's a flash away from the Shockwave. That's a very good flash from Baka actually, but it does lose a summoner. He could have used his cleanse, but that wouldn't really have done much for him. So very good, very measured and very instinctive reaction from Baka in that mid lane. Does get that flash perfectly away from the Shockwave, so that Athena can't just burst him down. He did have half mana to half mana, and does have a flash available for to try and follow up. So Baka does escape with almost entirely his health bar almost entirely full. But look at the vision once more. Always talking about vision because vision is so important in this game. 2 control wards just down from the river, just down from the mid lane in the river, towards that dragon pit. So they want to get that dragon as soon as possible now. Prioritize on the side of IM because of the fact that they want a more high priority Drake. So they do put down the Rift Herald. It will go down to the top side. GP cannot 1v1 Amazing J in the top side. Does use the ultimate. Will clear away this wave as Cat Jungle does pick up another kill onto the Lulu. Will get first blood. Tower actually does go over to the side of OMD. Very well played. They did get that pressure in the bot side. Will get another kill onto Amazing J though. So that's really another snowballing lane for Amazing J. He's going to really snowball on this Kled again. Maybe we'll see another game like the last game where he really snowballed on that Camille. Really did so much for his team. He went 9-0-2 on that Camille. And look at how good this Rift Herald is. He just hits his head into that tower. We'll get 1.5 towers for his trouble, but this is a lot of trouble for Amazing J. He will go down and rappel over the wall onto the ground. Will he get away? He won't. Actually, he does get Scare of the Week onto Sonic Wave. Will connect. That's a double kill over to Syndra. Baka picks up 2 kills. He has his Leandries as well. I mean, his Haunted guys will put that into Leandries. He'll have so much damage then. He might be able to get more from this as well. He does have Lost Chapter. Might want to build into Morello first. A little bit interesting if he decides to do that. Will match it with Athena in the mid lane, though. He does have no summon. He actually has one summoner. He has his cleanse available. Athena has both summoners available, so it will be really interesting to see how he will do in that matchup. He does have 2 kills superior, but he is 20 CS behind Athena in this mid lane, as Casual is clearing out the bot lane. Will defend this, keep it alive for a little bit longer. He does have the backup of his team. Actually, he's the backup of IEM coming in. Casual is a lot of trouble here. Amazing J, he can 1v1 Amazing J when he will go down here. He does have his barrels, will be doing a lot of damage, but he will go down to ooh, that's a actually great ultimate use. Xin Zhao was kept alive. Casual was looking for the kill actually onto Xin Zhao. Wild Growth did keep him alive, but they are looking to make a cross map play in the top side. They do get the bot lane tower on the side of IEM, but they will be losing a tier 2 turret in the top side. This is not what they want to happen. Shockwave doesn't actually hit. Baka won't be escaping with his life though. Ben 4 is there to help follow up as True Shot Barrage does come down. Will be able to clear out some of the wave in the bot side. Won't really save the tower though. They have far too much damage. They will be actually able to tank this up with the Kled. He does have his Skarl available, so he knows he has that amount of leeway available for him to tank up this tower, and he will be returning to base after this anyway, so he doesn't really mind tanking it up as Ben 4 goes for the first strike of the game. Finally, 16 minutes into the game, looking to get this first strike. He will be leashing it out so that it will connect. Actually, he decides to back away from it. He has maybe a little bit of spidey sense there. That Thresh was hanging about that river. He will be picking up that Rift Scuttle though. We'll get that vision now. Lucifer is there. That's actually 3 members of the side of OMD that are around that river. Look at the goal difference at 16.5 minutes into the game. There's almost a 1,500 goal difference between these two teams. 3 turrets to 3. No dragons picked up on either side yet, but we have a snowballing Kled in the top side, but snowballing Syndra in the mid lane, quite literally as well. So which will be worse? We'll just have to wait and see. Amazing J and Baka, both really good players. They are very much known for their roles. Amazing J maybe more so than Baka, but they will be going onto the strike, leashing it out. They do have vision on the side of OMD in the Dragon Pit, in the back of the Dragon Pit. I'm not quite sure if they will actually be able to spot it out, see the health here, but they aren't really prioritizing contesting this as Lee Sin is at his Krugs. True Shot Barrage does come in, doesn't quite have enough damage at this stage. He does have his Mana Immune though, and he's building into his Trinity Force, so he will have a lot of damage in a 1v1 potential, because he does have that Sheen and that Fate for that 1v1, but really not enough damage from his True Shot Barrage to try and steal it. Maybe a little bit early, maybe a little bit nervous, or not quite sure if he wants to try and get that damage down. He will want to take it away potentially. It's always good to steal, but really not putting a lot of effort into it because it's only a Cloud Drake, as that is one whiffed arrow. Not really looking to dive this, because Elise is at the back, is back at base, but Amazing J is going to be attacked by that parlay, clearing out some of the vision there. A little bit of vision congestion just off of this mid lane. But bot lane is going to be answered by Baka. Baka will have to answer that large wave in the bot side, get a slow push going, perhaps try and get damage down or priority in that bot lane, get that pressure down, as in comes Amazing J with that charge, does get away using the Thresh Express. He does get that tower gangplank ultimate, didn't really do much to try and save the turret. Amazing J picks up another kill. That's 3-1 onto the Kled. They will be going for a shockwave. That's a 2-man shockwave. That's great for them, but Athena is very low, does have to flash away from that True Shot Barrage as Band 4 is getting very low here. Gangplank looking for the kill. He is so low. Everyone on the side of IEM is going down. That's 2 kills over the side of OMD. They're trying to fight one back, but Baka is also very low as Casual is gonna pick up another kill here. He's gonna be 2-3. He's starting to claw back a little bit into this game. Ben4 is also very low as Lucifer does go down to Amazing J in the mid lane, but Azura is looking for to get a pick onto Amazing J. He does get the kill. In the end, that's a 2v1 kill, but that's a great kill to go over to the Ezreal. That's an ace coming out for the side of OMD. They are bringing it back, doing so much better in this game than they did in the last one. Last one was so convincing for IEM, it was ridiculous, but now they're coming back. They are actually leading in this game. They don't have the first Drake, but they have the lead in gold. They have the lead in kills. They have a 2k gold lead over IEM, which really in the last game was unprecedented because of how well they did, how well they snowballed on that top lane Camille. So if you look at this replay here, Ben4 is going to go down here. He doesn't really have anywhere to go. Casual will be able to go under his tower. Actually, he will just pick it up with the parlay. Nothing really much that he could do there. He could go in and give Syndra the kill, or he could go down and just try and be executed, but he'd be cut out by the parlay either way. So it's really the lesser of two evils there, as again, looking for congestion of vision. Really not many wards around the map because they're clearing them away. We do see just off of mid lane down towards bot lane on the river, we see a control ward on the side of IAM, and really besides that, not that much vision available for either teams. Hawkshot has been used. It does give them a little more vision that way, a little less priority perhaps on the vision game from the bot lane, because of the fact that they have that Hawkshot available. They can use that as kind of a Farsight alteration, so that's 2 Farsight alterations technically for Jin Jiao. But Ash Arrow does go side, does Arcane Shift away. Arcane Shift not really necessary. He does have that red buff available though, so they might look for a fight. Ben4 does have his own red buff, so it won't be over to Jin Jiao. Might be able to 1v1 this, but Road might be caught out a little bit there. Does use Farsight alteration, does get the side out, but does get cleared away by Jin Jiao. True Shot Barrage does get used. Doesn't have any damage really though. Didn't really do very much to the minion wave at all. So how can you hope to do damage to any enemies? They will be able to siege in this mid lane tower, which is so low here. They are not going to even try and contest this, try and defend it. Bot lane not really pushing in favor of either team at the moment. Will be just off of one. Oh, that's what. Oh, he just got blown up there. He got hooked. He got just destroyed. And the cannon barrage coming in from the GP just really made sure that they couldn't do anything to try and save him. As Amazing J tries to get away, Shockwave does get used. That's a flash away from Azura. Tries to get away with his life. He's so low here. Just like one more auto attack maybe from the Orianna could have spelled his end. But they will be still trying to siege in this mid lane tower. They don't quite have the wave available, so they'll have to wait for the next wave to come in. And the next dragon will be spawning very, very soon. 1 minute, 10 seconds if I'm not mistaken. There is some symbols over that, so I'm not actually quite sure. Kled is going towards the bot side. It is starting to push in favor of OMD, maybe by a minute or two, so they will have to try and get the pressure on the bot side so they can get the pressure around Baron. Baron pressure is all up on the bot side. You get that pressure in the bot side, force them to go down to the bot side, the furthest point away from the Baron. They expel at least one person to try and deal with that wave, to try and push it in the opposite direction, try and get that slow push going in favor of them, so you get the pressure around the Baron area. You get pressure in the mid lane, you get pressure around both Baron and the Dragon Pit. Top lane really is for the Elder Drake contention. So right now, really want to put that priority in the bot side. GP is down there. He doesn't have his ultimate available quite yet. In the next few seconds, he will. They do have Farsight alteration. They will be dancing around this Baron, starting to dance around the Baron because it is almost 23 minutes into the game. Scar of the Week does go down. Ben4 does repel up. That is a nice Ash Arrow redemption. Is going to come down. TP is coming in. That is one dead cat jungle. They're looking for to get more, but Wild Growth has been used onto Amazing Jade. They really disengage here. They do get 1 kill for their trouble. That's 11-7. They will start clawing their way a little bit back into this game, but they're not really doing much. They do not want to pull the trigger. Ash Arrow did buy them something, but they don't have the ultimate available anymore. They do have the the shockwave available from Athena, though. They will have that cleanse and that flash available in the next few seconds, but Azura will be 1v1ing this Drake, getting that Ocean Drake, not one of the more high priority Drakes. It's very good for laning phase, but laning phase is almost practically over. It's actually probably over here, since they are gathering around this mid lane, looking to dance around Baron as well. It does pick up that Drake, and Amazing J did look to try and contest it, but didn't get there quite on time. Arcane shifted over the wall, did get the safety. He does have so much mobility on this Ezreal, especially since he does have his mana immune fully stacked, so it is his Mora mana now. It does have that Trading Force as well for that extra damage, building into Blade of the Rune King next with his Ninja Tabby, so he will have that tankiness as well. Does use that QSS, does get away with, actually he uses his Cleanse, does have that Cannon Barrage coming down, does have that damage, that disengage as well perhaps, will actually force the disengage from IEM, whether they wanted that or not. Will be dancing around this Baron again, does have 2 control wards there because 1 apparently isn't enough. Do have that control ward being taken out from IEM though, so they're really dancing around this Baron. Fnatic Death Bush a little bit, but they're not quite sure what they want to do at this point. We'll be taking the Rift Scuttle for that added vision, but they're all forced to back away here. They really, neither team want to pull the trigger at this point, because one mistake could spell disaster, especially with the ball delivery system in Kled just charging in with Skarl and using that shockwave, using that Ashe ultimate wild growth, just everything so in favor of IEM. They do have Scar of the Week and True Shot Barrage, and they have the Cannon Barrage available on the side of OMD. So if they play it correctly, and Amazing Day does get caught out, but that's a great shockwave. Athena picks up his first kill of the game, and that is another kill over to the side of IEM. This is This is exactly what we were talking about just a minute ago, using the ball delivery system, using the Ashe Arrow for that high CC. Lucifer and Casual and Azura do get away with their life, but this could spell Baron for IM, but they might be able to try and contest this. They do have True Shot Barrage available and Cannon Barrage available. They will be able to get a little bit more damage onto Ben 4, but they have the damage down there. Oh, and Road off to the side. It's going to go down to the Ezreal. Perhaps he doesn't quite have enough damage. Kled picks up a kill for himself onto the Thresh. They're still on Baron. Cannon Barrage does get used, does go over to the side of IM, but Ezreal is looking for the kills. Amazing J does get the bear trap on a rope. They'll actually shift over the wall, but will go down. Does go over to Jin Zhao. That's a great Baron for them. Does get 1 death, but does get 3 kills. So that was played superbly well. If we look at this replay again, it was a little bit sloppy actually, because they were on the Baron, but Road was off to his side, almost died there. Thresh does get the great 3-man flay, but Skarl does disappear, does get that extra damage, extra immunity, does get that early smite actually. Ashe does have to pick up the Baron in the end, as Azura off to his side does have to arcane shift over the wall, but doesn't quite have enough, doesn't have the distance with that arcane shift to get away from that bear trap on a rope. Does get locked down and then taken out, as Baka doesn't have enough movement speed actually to get caught out by that Ashe Arrow, but Road is looking for it to get maybe his Q down, as Skarl does come in. That's a one blown up back as Road picks up the kill for himself. Wild Growth actually onto himself because he was so low. They will be sieging in this top lane tower as Gangplank is backing away in that bot side. I don't know why he was pushing so heavily in the bot side when top side was under so much pressure. Only if Baka was in the top side, they will be able to get this inhibitor, perhaps an inhibitor, as that Cocoon does go a little bit wide there, doesn't quite have the distance, does get the hook onto Ben 4, will pick up that inhibitor, back away, perhaps go towards the mid lane, rotate, go back perhaps, and pick up maybe more items, since they will get a nice amount of gold for that inhibitor. And really nothing being done on the side of OMD to try and contest that. Really kind of poorly played in a macro sense from OMD, since they wanted to push in the bot lane, which they did. They had GP in the bot lane, but he didn't use his teleport, he didn't use his Cannon Barrage. His Cannon Barrage was available, and he could have used that to clear out the wave, or even to help for the escape of Baka, since it does have it slow. He does have Depth's Daughter available, so I don't understand why he didn't do that. And Amazing J is in the bot side, will be pushing that in. Look at the warding coverage. Warding coverage is for OMD in the bot side quadrant around the red buff. I don't know why they're putting such high priority on that, specifically since they won't be able to enter their jungle very much themselves. They need to get earlier warding around the bot side towards their walls rather than towards their buffs, since they have to discount their buffs since they have no pressure. They have no lane pressure, so why would you have jungle pressure? You don't. So we see Amazing J does really fight out, get Casual to back away. Nothing really he can do there, as Casual does get hit by the bear trap and rope, will use that charge to get away, does use that as a nice disengage. He will be backing away. They do get actually that mid lane tower for the trouble. That's another tier 2. They will be sieging in this mid lane so easily. They don't even have the Drakes to siege in the mid lane, but they have such a good team comp. I don't know why they didn't ban away the Orianna as well. I think it was a little bit of a misdraft coming out from OMD. I think they could have left the Talia up. It's not as much of a scary thing to be against. They do know that Amazing J is so good on these ball delivery system champions, such as the Kled, such as but Thresh does get cut out. Bear trap on a rope does lock him up. Road does pick up the kill onto Lucifer, but Ashe is going very low. Wildgoat just does pick him up, does keep him alive. Redemption actually helps him out quite a lot as well, as they're looking to follow up on this. Baka coming around from the backside does get disengaged upon, does get forced to back away by that ball. So they will be able to pick up the rest of the jungle here, as Mountain Drake is spawning right now. So they will be able to get that true damage onto the neutral objectives, get that true damage onto the next Baron, perhaps, onto all those turrets that they want to siege in. So this is really, they're pulling it back in this game. They were doing so well on the side of OMD, but now they're really pulling it back. 30 minutes into the game, they're 6,500 gold ahead, 3 towers ahead, and a Drake ahead. So they're doing so well on this, and it's so good to see, because Amazing J, he did so well in the early part of the game, and the rest of the team really falling behind in their respective roles, really just from small micro game mismanagement, misplays. So it's really good to see that Amazing J is helping out the rest of his team, and the rest of his team are rallying behind him and allowing him to snowball. He's 7-2 on this Kled, and nothing really can be done on the side of OMD. No one can 1v1 him at this point. He has his Titanic Hydra, Black Cleaver, he has his Spirit Visage, he has his Ninja Tabby as well, so nothing really they could do to try and 1v1 him. So they need to 2, maybe 3v1 him, and they really can't spare those resources with the top lane inhibitor completely destroyed, and they will be trying to siege in this mid lane. They have the Mountain Drake available, as Amazing J does get knocked in. He does get locked up by that box. They have to disengage this, do have to use the Redemption, actually comes down, and Cat Jungle does get locked up by that Ashe arrow. We see the ultimate being used by Baka, as at least gets very low, but does have that wild growth, does keep him alive. Bork active does get used onto Casual, does get away with his life, though. That's a 2-0 in favor of IEM at this point. But everyone is so low on the side of IEM that they're still going to siege in this mid lane, because there's nothing they can really do on the side of OMD to try and dissuade this, because they have their jungle, they have their top lane really low. They don't have a mid laner, they don't have an AD carry at this point. Redemption is also available, will put so much health into their health bars. They have the super minions available as well. Thresh does get the hook flay, does a blow up Road, gets his own kill, but nothing really to help his team. Does have that pressure from the kill, which will really help out. But Cat Jungle, you're going really ham, just getting blown up. Athena gets another kill for herself in that mid lane. This will be game 2 of the best of 3 going over to IAM. That is GG. So that was very well played from the side of IEM. They really pulled it back in that game. They were behind in the early part of the game. Even in the mid part of the game, they were starting to get a little bit behind, because it was actually played really well from OMD. But they were a little lackluster in the mid to late game from OMD. They mismanaged their macro game. They had players not in the right place at the right times. They had GP in the bot lane where he really shouldn't have been. He should have pushed a wave or two, got that slow push going, and then maybe left that lane. This is my opinion. And I think it would have worked much better for them. He was more in the bot side, pushing heavily and not really caring about pressure in other sides of the map. He didn't use his ultimate to put more pressure globally. He didn't try and help out his team with that. It's not all on Gangplank though. We did have Baka in the mid lane, didn't respect the amount of gank potential coming out from Middle East. He didn't have the vision. As a high elo jungler, a high elo player like that, you would know that if you have the river bush warded, Elise will not go through that river bush because it's the most likely place to be warded. So he'll come around from just up from the wall, up from the river, and you should have that bit warded, or you shouldn't be that far gone unless your jungler's nearby. Jungler wasn't nearby. So really, it's these micro level plays that isn't going well on the side of OMD that they really need to try and fix up before they can take on a team like IM. But they did do really well in the early part of the game, which was really good to see. It was a vast improvement from the last game where they just got dominated by IM, and so they improved their draft a little bit, but I think that they could have banned out the Orianna since it did so well for them in the last game. They banned out the Camille, which was really good, but you can't really ban out Amazing J that much. He has all those carry top laners like the Camille, he has that Kled, he has several other champions in his champion pool available to him. So really, nothing much they can do to try and ban him out. More ban out champions that work well together, like the Kled and the Orianna. You can't ban out Kled, Orianna, and Camille and all the other champions that are ball delivery systems. So ban out the ball. That's all you can really do. That's what I'd expect them to do. It didn't really work out for them. They banned out the Talia, which I think was a little lackluster, and they lost a ban. But that's how the cookie crumbles, and it does go over G2, not G2, 2-0 to IM. Very well played, and Athena picks up the MVP for that game, going 3-1 on that Orianna. 316 CS in that game, 21,000 damage. Very well played. I would have given it over to Kled again, or to Amazing J on that Kled, since he did so well in that game. I don't know the background statistics of his CS or of his damage, but I think he did very well and really helped carry the game. Orianna, of course, did very well for himself as well. Did have really good shockwaves at points. A little lackluster with it sometimes, but that's not his fault. It's because of the responses of the enemy team. But very well played from both teams, and GG for IM. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Demacia Cup. I am your host, TheTrueDarxil, and we just saw a 2-0 win for IM over OMD. A very convincing first win, and very convincing comeback into the game for IM. So it was a great pleasure to cast those games, and I'm sure it'll be a great pleasure to cast the next best of three, putting SNG. And I forgot what the second team is because I had no idea what these teams were going into this. But it will be very interesting to cast those games anyway, and hopefully we'll get some nice pocket picks coming out, some power picks, and if we'll see some nice drafting. I like to see a nice pick ban phase and some intelligent mixing up of the pick and ban phase, especially tailored to what you see your opponents do, because you can tell a lot about what your opponents want to pick or want to potentially pick from how they do their pick and ban phase. Like in the last game, we did see that they banned away the Camille and the Echo, so they wanted to go for that low mobility in the mid lane, such as that Syndra, and they wanted to go for that low mobility in the top lane, like that Gangplank. You can tell usually from their bans, usually the mobility of the champion, because of the level of engage that the champions that you ban away. Usually, if they have a high engage, you want to pick a low mobility champion. Or if they have a lot of CC, it could be a low mobility champion, or it could just be a champion that is very squishy. So if you ban away the Ashe, or ban away, let's say, the Syndra, or ban away the Rise, you might want to go for a LeBlanc or something like that. That's very squishy if you get higher CC'd. So it can very. I quite like going through pick and ban phase because it can be so interesting to try and get into the minds of the teams, and especially of the coaches who put so much time and effort and research into pick and ban phase. So we will be getting into Champions Select very soon, ladies and gentlemen, for this first game of the best of three, and it'll be very interesting to see how these teams turn out their drafts, especially with Caitlyn being such a high priority on this patch, being such a high pick, high win rate champion, especially in solo queue. So I'll be very interested to see if that will be picked or banned away by either team, as we will be getting into Champion Select right now between these two teams. Well, apparently not right now. We will be going to do player profile. So in the top lane, it will be Zhao, AL, Avoid This in the jungle, Diane in the mid lane, Fury AD carry, and Yoon support for SN Gaming. And on the red side, as soon as I catch up, or my Chinese colleagues catch up with me, I should say, because I don't have a clue when they're like what they're saying, or when I don't have any sort of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't have any indication of when they'll be saying the rest of it. We won't be going through the other team apparently, so we'll be just going into Champion Select right now, hopefully, so we can get through that and get into the action. So we get a nice view of the players. Usually something that we don't get unless there's a technical difficulty. So there might be a technical difficulty on the side of maybe SN Gaming, since we are getting quite a long look at them. And otherwise we would be into Champion Select by now, and I can't tell you what the problem is, since I have no connection to the Chinese broadcasting team. But we do get to go through the player profile of the second team. So over on the red side, we have Gimgoon in the top lane, Zhao Yu in the jungle, Fire Rain in the mid lane, Chelly in the AD carry role, and his support Tidy. For the team Game Talents, GT. So nothing really could say off of these teams. I have no research on these teams. I've never even heard of these teams. I've heard of IM before, so I could tell a little bit, especially with some of the players. I knew Amazing J previously, not in person, but I knew of him and his League of Legends talent, so I was able to extrapolate from that how good of a player he is because of the fact that I heard of him and how good he is. But I have never heard of any of these players, so I'm not quite sure of the caliber of players that they are. I'm sure they're very good players since they are playing in the LPL and, of course, the Demacia Cup. So I'm sure they are high caliber players, but I'm not quite sure what they're known for, if they're known for anything. So hopefully we'll be getting into pick and ban phase right now, since it does look like as if the coaches are reading through their notes. We could still have a technical difficulty though, since there is an awful lot of talking and no pick and bans coming up on the screen. I would love to update you guys as to what this connection issue is, whether it is a headset issue or anything like that, but I have no idea, as we do get finally into Champion Select for this best of 3 game 1 between SN Gaming and Game Talents. We are taking quite a long time to get the first ban out. Being a Mordekaiser, that's very interesting. Mordekaiser generally not seen, especially in competitive play, since he was in the AD carry role back in Season 6, I believe, with Twitch being banned out, a very high win rate champion in a high elo solo queue, so I want to take that away from Fury, make sure that he doesn't get over onto that. And we have seen lots of top laners across the world, not just in the Korean challenger scene or in the LCK, picking up that Galio on the top side because of his utility of his ultimate, keep you alive, get that huge boost of damage resistance, and also he's so tanky and he has great ganks, a great gank potential for that Galio, so that's why he's been taken away from Gimgoon there. At least also being taken away, we saw that used a great effect by IM, so we understand why that's being taken away, because it's such a good early game gank jungler. Kind of surprising that they aren't prioritizing the Lee Sin, since they have taken away that Elise, but they decide to prioritize that Ashe instead for that hard CC, for that great amount of damage as well. All around a good AD carry, and they do take away that Kog'Maw. We did see it be taken by G2 during MSI, did give them a win over SK Telecom T1, so maybe they don't want something like that to happen with them against Game Talents, or against SN Gaming I should say, so they did pick up the Ashe instead of that Kog'Maw. But they do pick up on the opposite side that Caitlyn, a very good jungler and a very good AD carry I should say. I was looking at the Ivern, so I got a little mixed up with my words. It's a very good AD carry, very high win rate, high pick rate in solo queue and in competitive play at the moment, as Rengar does get locked in. Rengar also a very good jungler, but a little bit of questionable pick, I think, this early in the draft. Does have that early gank potential, and that early, well, it doesn't quite have that as much of an early gank potential as Lee Sin, but he does have good ganks once he reaches level 6, can use that on the hunt, or thrill of the hunt I should say, and get those ganks off and really have that great pick potential. He does have that early counter jungling potential, which is really good into an Ivern, but Ivern has that huge utility, building that redemption, rushing that redemption, and going for all those other utility items that will make him so good in the late game to keep the AD carry alive. With Fizz going towards that top lane, you can tell by the summoners with that Ignite TP will be shredding that Maokai in the top side, unless Maokai wants to go for the unconventional maybe solo Q pick and go over to Tidy in the support role, but I think that is a little bit less likely. But Zyra has been banned out, so it makes it a little more likely that it will go over to Tidy in that support role, since they will be banning out some of the more high priority support picks like that Zyra. But LeBlanc is also being banned out. They don't want to go up against that in that mid lane. And Karma also being banned away will be indicative of them not wanting to go against those high magic damage champions, high utility champions in that bot lane. So still, again, could have that unconventional pick of having that Maokai as a support. I still think it will be put to the top side, go over to Gimgoon there, since we haven't really seen him being played much in competitive play. It's more of a solo queue champion lately, so I'm not quite sure how they will want to sort it out. They could have a pocket pick for all I know, for all anyone knows, really. As Shen does get hovered here, I'd expect that to be locked in for Tidy and have the Maokai go to Gimgoon in that top side. It is a little bit of a questionable pick, though, in my opinion, having Shen go over to Gimgoon in the top lane, since we will have that shredding, that tank shredding ability of that Fizz in the top side. But it could work out for him, go for that Bami Cinder into Tiamat, into full Titanic Hydra perhaps, or into his Sunfire Cape into that Titanic Hydra, as we do see that Talia being locked in into the mid lane with Lulu being hovered. Lulu very good with that Ashe. We did see it to great effect from IM in the last game, so wouldn't be surprised to see that being locked in for the side of SN Gaming. We did see in the last game Talia being banned away. It's a very good blind pick champion in the mid lane because you can pick it into almost anything. So really, picking it so late in the draft is not a surprise, because of the fact that you want to be able to give yourself time to perhaps pick a more appropriate mid laner if you can. If they decide not to last pick their mid laner, then you can pick Talia into anything anyway, but you might want to pick something that you deem is more appropriate, as it does go to support Maokai. It does go support Maokai, which was always a thing, was always possible, since they did pick Maokai and then ban away the two most likely supports, the more appropriate or top tier supports. So I'm not as surprised as I would have been if it had been Maokai just being thrown in as a pick and then not banning away those two support picks. I would have been a lot more surprised that way, that it would be going over to support. But support Maokai is very good. Go for that full AP, use all of that sapling damage and just blow everyone up. But I think it'll probably be going for more utility sort of role. Use that twisted advance, get in there, use the ultimate, lock them down, keep that perma-stun going so that Shelly can get the traps down, get the damage down, and pick up a few kills for himself and really snowball that lane. Fire Rain does pick up that Cassidy in the mid lane from level 6, really start to dominate and go around the map as well. So Gimgoon and Fire Rain really bring that cross map pressure from that Stand United. Does give them it really makes everyone on the side of SN Gaming have to think about every play that they make, because they know they have to burst the enemy down. Otherwise, Stand United can be channeled and come in and really make that 1v1 that they thought was really easy before, make it a 2v1 that they mightn't even win, mightn't even get a kill for a kill in the end. So that is our teams for this game. SN Gaming versus GT. Should be a very interesting best of 3, very interesting first game even. So I'm very interested to see how the top lane matchup will go. Shen into Fizz especially, and we'll just have to wait and see until we get onto the Rift. So we are onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, for game 1 of this best of 3 between SN Gaming and GT. So we do see a very standard 5-man spread coming out from both squads, with Talia actually towards the bot side, which is a little interesting. Might want to make a pick there. Volley being a very standard start from Fury's Ashe. I wouldn't be surprised if they picked that up already, but pings are coming down from the side of GT. Will potentially have spotted them out, or just instinctually have known that they'd be there. Cassian being a little bit wary, does have that ward in the bush. Will be able to spot Talia going to lane, but Talia is being very unusual here, sticking towards the bot side rather than going towards the mid lane. So really, they might want to be trying to catch someone out, rotating maybe towards the blue buff, which is actually what they're doing right now. Rotating towards the blue buff, want to get some of that vision down, spot out where they're starting. So because they're not starting on that blue buff, very much going to be starting on the Raptors. Because it is a Rengar. It wouldn't be a little unusual for it to be starting off on that red buff rather than on the Raptors, since Raptors gives you that early level to rotate to maybe the red buff and pick up that extra experience and really go for a really early, maybe 2.5 minute gank. So that really what you want to happen, want to have happen, I should say. So looking at the bot side, a sapling I think has been thrown down into that bush in the bot side. I can't quite tell without rotating the camera there, but I'm not in control of the camera, so I can't quite tell anyone to rotate to that bot side so I can check it out. But very standard from the beginning. Ivern not having picked anything up yet, just using that passive to get down those shrines, get those parks, let's say, around, and really get that jungle clear going. So he doesn't use any of his smite, will just go back, and he'll actually save his smite most likely for to counter jungle. So he'll probably be going to try and steal that blue buff away from the Rengar, from Xiao Yu, because they know that he didn't start off there. So he'll be clearing his own jungle, going for that red, going for the Raptors, rotating to Wolves and his own blue buff, and then maybe going to steal away that blue buff, since they know he'll start off on his Raptors, go perhaps to red buff, red buff, then Krugs, and then he'll have to back away and then go down to his blue buff, which he is doing right now, but he isn't going to try and counter jungle here. Fire Rain is in a lot of trouble in the mid lane, very low, can't really fight Dian's Talia in the early part of the game. He doesn't have his ultimate available, he's only level 3, so really at a disadvantage in early parts of the game. And perhaps in the other parts of the game, Fire Rain is going very low, does flash for flash though, and doesn't quite have enough damage to finish it off. He does have heal instead of ignite. If he had ignite, he would have gotten first blood there more than likely. But that is an aggressive start from both mid laners. Aggressive in the lane from Dian, and an aggressive build from Fire Rain, going with that early ring build. But here's Voidless just misses his root collar, doesn't get the gank off, forced to back away. They would have gotten an easy gank there if he landed his root collar, but he didn't quite land it. It was just a little bit awry. I think it was seen, or predicted I should say, from Shelly. So Sapling is being tossed out left and right from Tidy, as Seismic Shove does knock him back, does get a lot of damage down onto Fire Rain. Fire Rain did go back, get that Rupee Crystal, so he will have that little bit more tankiness in this lane. Will be going towards that early Rod of Ages, wanting to stack that up quite a lot. It is a very common first item for a Cassidy. So that's a double Dorns for Talia in the mid lane. Will have that extra damage, extra mana regen as well, which will really help her out in this lane. But even at almost 5 minutes into the game, looking at ward coverage is always something that we talk about here. Very little at this point, as that Skull Shrine just disappears on the bottom side of the map for SN Gaming. But Ivern is clearing out some of the vision there. He does clear out one of the wards for GT, and he does have his Rift Skull vision being taken there. Apart from that, there was one ward in that river. As I say, that Gimgoon is in a lot of trouble. Playful Trickster, it does get some damage down. This will be first blood over to Ivor. Does pick up first blood for his team. A Voidless 1-0 at this early stage. So, topside going actually rather well for the side of SN Gaming, not just because of the kill going over to Voidless, which that was a nice blast cone, does get him away, but Xiao Yu does have his passive, will be able to get some damage down. Heal hasn't been used quite yet, does flash, does use his heal, does get some damage down onto Xiao Yu, but Xiao Yu just about gets away. He could have gotten potentially the kill, but the rest of the team was following up from the bot side, so nothing really that he could do there. He just about gets away with his life. Both teams escape. So if we look towards the Drake Pit is an Ocean Drake in this early part of the game. Not, as we said in the last best of 3, not really the most contested or most prioritized Drake. It is more prioritized than the Cloud Drake, because it really helps out early laning phase, since it will give you that passive regeneration of health and mana, so it will really help out. But it's not something that they really want to prioritize, so it doesn't scale hugely well until the late game. So that way they really want to prioritize lane ganking and farming up. But he does have Catalyst of the Protector in the mid lane, so really if we look at the matchups, it's kind of unsure, kind of unclear as to where these junglers want to make their mark, since mid lane is always being shoved up in favor of Talia against the Cassin, so really doesn't allow Voidless to make much of a gank there, as Daisy does get popped. Will scout out the red buff, will be able to get down this passive and then smite it away, get that red buff for himself and for his team, as Xiao Yu is rotating towards that bot side. Does get spotted out by a control ward though, so really doesn't allow him to get any gank off, because bot lane will be on high alert as Fish does go down onto Gimgoon. Doesn't quite have a lot of damage though, as Gimgoon will take a lot of damage here. Flash over the wall, that was a great flash over the wall. Root Collar does land. Daisy's looking for the follow-up, does get one cupcake. That's two cupcakes. Is it going to be a third? Does get the third, does get the knockup. Zhao Al, unusual name, does pick up another kill for his team. That's first kill on the board for Zhao Al. He does have his Sheen, which will make him do a lot of damage, but Gimgoon really being caught out in this top side. Really nothing he could do, as so much pressure is being put in the top side by a Voidless. And if we look towards the bot side, which we're not really getting much vision of on the camera, it's going relatively even, 10 CS difference between the two AD carries, but that's from the pressure that Maokai is exerting on the bot lane. He does have extra kill pressure in that lane because of the exhaust. However, Yoon does have his from the Ignite. He does have exhaust on the side of Yoon though, which will really allow for them to go for that 2v2 skirmish rather than go for that burst damage, which is really what Shelly and Tidy want to do. Silent Shove does knock him back, but they don't quite have the damage to really get down onto Fire Rain. Fire Rain really shoving it in this mid lane. Gimgoon, you're really far pushed up, I should say, not knocked up. He really pushed in that lane super hard, as Rengar is coming in for the gank. He'll want to let this push in now, but will he let it bounce properly? Xiao Al is really getting in there close. Does Playful Trickster, does use his Urchin Strike, but really nothing he's doing to try and get Rengar to stick around. Rengar doesn't stick around, he backs away, and really nothing happening there. Doesn't really do anything on that top side by Gimgoon to try and facilitate a gank, so really that pressure is completely lost. Ping is coming out throughout the map on the side of GT, still 2-0 down, 1k gold difference between these two teams 10 minutes into the game. Xiao Yu not really making an impact on the map at all. He's level 7, so I really would have been expecting him to gank since level 6, since he will have that Thrill of the Hunt available, but he's doing more farming rather than ganking, and he's still only about 14 CS 14 CS more than his jungle counterpart, so not quite sure if it's really worth it, since he does have since Voidless does have 2 kills on the board for his team, both onto Gimgoon in that top side, one being First Blood, so he's prioritizing Ocean Drake here, which is really good for his team for this early learning phase, like I said earlier on, but might be a little bit. Oh, as Fish does come down, does lock him up using that root collar. Gimgoon, you're in a lot of trouble again. You're just being bullied in this top side. That's a third cupcake. Does use that Spirit's Refuge to get a little bit more tankiness, as that was very well played from Gimgoon, but he's going to be wailed on by Daisy. They really didn't execute that tower dive very well at all. They could have gone down there so easily. And it was very well played from Gimgoon though. So bot side pressure is really in favor of GT here, getting those saplings down, and almost a third of the health of the tower is left, and Yoon not really be able to do much. Using those glitter lances will get some damage, some poke, some slow down onto the bot lane of GT, but almost an Infinity Edge available for Shelly does have that utility from Tidy's Maokai as well. Does have that Twisted Advance, does have the ultimate available, which is also another lockdown. So really a lot of CC on the side of the bot lane of GT. Nothing that Fury really wants to fight at this early stage. 10 CS behind, going for that Blade of the Rune King to the Faraday Edge of Shelly. So not quite sure if Ashe will ever be able to 1v1 this Caitlyn in the bot side. Not with Maokai around, certainly not. Not even a 2v1 available there. With Xiao Yu actually around the bot side, not being spotted out by a ward yet. Does just get spotted out by the ward. That is placed down with 4 being around the bot side now. That's going to be a 4v3 as Cassian is starting to wander down there. Both top layers duking it out a little bit, just a little bit of a wet noodle fight in that top side as they are skirmishing for vision here. Control ward does get placed down, does get taken away, but he does use that sweeper to get rid of the ward that has been placed down on the side of GT. So really this is a tempered game. No one really wanting to step forward and take charge, but really going in favor of SNG all the same. This could be first brick tower though, but they have a Voidless there, does have those shields, allows them to take this poke from GT's bot lane and not really care too much about it as we see that hawk shot going up there, spots out his own top laner who's taking away that red buff, looking for it to get maybe a pick. Ooh, the arrow does land onto Xiao Yu, does get away with his life. Those Rucolor doesn't quite land onto Tidy, but it would have landed onto the tank. Not really who you wanted to land on, but it could have allowed them to get pick onto Shelly, who might have stuck around to try and defend his support as Xiao Yu is standing in a bush with a ward, so they do know that he's still there, and Avoidless is sticking around because he knows that that jungler is still around to try and push in this bot lane, siege in the bot lane, and they will be able to pick up this tower, get the first brick tower. They won't try anything. That's a flash aggressively, does use that that passive and gets the kill onto Fury. That's a kill over to Shelly. That is 1 kill on the board for the side of GT, and they're gonna try and siege in this bot lane tower and get another turret. That's cupcake power onto Xiao Yu. Does get knocked up, but not really doing anything. Gets Daisy away from the fight. They do get 1 tower, get a little bit of damage onto the other tower. Pressure not really gained anywhere else on the map in favor of SNG, so they were just staggering around this bot side trying to defend it. Nothing really happening else around the map as Fire Rain is getting that pressure in the mid lane, getting that farm. He's 3 farm now ahead of the Talia, so he's actually catching up. He's stacking that tier, he's stacking that Rod of Age, stacking that that Darxil, so really going in favor of Fire Rain in this matchup. He has 1 assist, which will really help him out, stacking that Darxil, and in the next few minutes he'll have a max stack Rod of Ages to that Leandries and Lost Chapter of the Talia. So very interesting to see how that will work out as Fish does come out from the top laner. Xiao AL picks up another kill for himself. That's 2-0, but he's going to go down. Actually, Tidy goes down in the end, picks up another kill for himself, for the team I should say, as Gian does pick up his first kill of the game. That's 4-1 now in favor of SNG. And this gives them great lane pressure in both the mid and top, since Fire Rain did back away and go recall to pick up his Mercury threads. So he really, they don't have that pressure in the mid lane, and that kill gave them pressure on the top lane. But on the opposite side, GT have pressure in the bot side, with Shen having rotated to the bot side for the bot lane to rotate to the top side, so they could shove that out. They have a nice lane swap going for them, but they will be able to pick up this Rift Herald, and that means that they'll get extra pressure on lanes, since they'll be able to place that down and almost be guaranteed at least 1 tower, maybe even 2. They'll be able to get almost guaranteed. You can almost guarantee 1 tower because it will do 1 headbutt, then 2, then maybe a 3rd before it gets killed, and that means that it could spell a tower with all the siege potential coming out from the side of SNG. They have the Lily, they have the Ashe, they have Dian's Talia. So really, I think it's a worthy trade for the side of SNG. I'm starting to lose some of my words here because I really want to stop and take a drink, but I really don't want to at the same time because I want to continue casting. I love casting. So the next strike will be coming up in the next few seconds, and Fizz is pushing in the bot side. They matched that rotation, but then they have another rotation from the side of GT. They're gonna push their bot lane back down to the opposite end. They will be going for this Infernal Drake, which is so good for them, and they will be able to get back into the game with this. There's only 1,500 gold difference between these two teams. One tower to 0, one Drake to 0, and they're gonna pick up a second Drake for themselves. So that means they'll have an Ocean Drake and an Infernal Drake, which will really help them out. But look at that. That's a top lane turret traded in the top side, so they'll be able to equalize that goal differential, but they won't be able to equalize the pressure because they will be able to get so much pressure from that Infernal Drake because they'll get so much damage from it onto Rengar, onto Kassadin, onto the Caitlyn. And look at that Sorcerer's Shoes being picked up by the support Tidy on that Maokai. Will want to get that damage down using the Sapling's Twisted Advance, use that new ultimate of his, get all those roots coming out, get those CC chains going, and really just blow up the enemy team. That's what they want to do. That's what they're gonna do. Hopefully we'll see that later on in the next few minutes. But look at the top side. Both tanks are on the top side for the side of GT defending that. They don't have any pressure elsewhere. We have Kassadin trying to get pressure in the bot side, looking for to get a slow push, but the mid lane is going to suffer. They're going to get a damage down there onto that tower. They're going to easily siege in this mid lane tower, get that first tier turret, and they have nothing to answer for anywhere else on the map. They have summoned their Rift Herald, which means they're going to get another tier 2 tower, and that means they're gonna get a kill. The Weaver's Wall comes out, does lock them away. They won't be able to defend this. That's a tier 2 turret easily picked up, and they still have an almost full health Rift Herald, so they'll be able to siege this in. And the ultimate from Maokai doesn't work at all, gets it down to half health, and now they're still able to siege it in on their own. They have the minion wave. Minion wave does get killed away quite easily though by the Kassadin, so they have to back away, but they have pressure in the bot side, and the top side is starting to get pressure. Look at this across the map. This is great macro play from the side of SNG. They don't have pressure in either the top side or the bot side, but it's great macro play from GT. They couldn't quite defend the mid lane though, which is a big disappointment, because if they could have defended the mid lane against the Rift Herald and the push pressure from the side of SNG, it would have been great for them, since they had pressure in the top side, pressure in the bot side already created by Fire Rain on that Kassadin. So if they did that correctly, it would have been so good for them, and they would have been able to get Baron pressure, since Baron is up in 12 seconds time, and Fizz is going down towards the bot side to answer this push from Gimgoon's Shen. And really not quite sure what they want to do with themselves, because they seem to be diverted. They seem to be divergent in what they want to do. They don't have that communication, that sort of synergy that I'm looking for in these teams, since they have Shen rotating towards the mid lane. He's around the Dragon Pit, not quite sure what to do with himself, since there's no farm around there. He wandered up, didn't even place a ward, and wandered back down. So really, they want to do something, they decide against it, want to do something, decide against it, and then they do something, and it's not really the right call. So I'm not quite sure if it's a miscommunication error or if it's a macro game error, but it's really something that they need to work out on the side of GT, as they are posturing quite aggressively in this mid lane, looking to push it up on the side of SNG. They will be pushing up quite strongly, as Fizz is getting that Rift Scuttle in the bot side, I'm fairly sure. He doesn't seem to actually get it in the end, goes back down as Tidy does get locked up by that Ash Arrow, and that Weaver's knockback from the Talia picks up a kill for Yoon. It would be much better served to go over to the Talia, but that's another champion from GT that isn't on the map, so that's great for this lane pressure. Gimgoon is in a lot of trouble though, does use that Spear's Refuge, but he does get knocked by the Simon's Shove. He flashes away from the playful Trickster. He is taking tower damage. Fish does come out. Zhao picks up another kill for himself, so that's the 3-0 Fizz. And I'm trying to talk really fast, but as a solo caster, it's so hard to talk and modulate your modulate everything really. So I'm just trying to really keep everything understandable. So please tell me if I'm doing something horribly wrong, like I can't be understood or something, because I'm kind of getting excited about these games, even though I have no idea about the teams, but I'm still excited. I swore. No, I don't want to swear. Ah, so hard. When I get hype, so hard. Deficio got this into me. I don't like it. Fizz backs away in the bot side. He did get bot lane pressure for his team, so that's really good. They do get pressure around Baron now. Before I put this to YouTube, I'll bleep that out, hopefully. Or I'll just bleep it out on the YouTube. But it does give them bot lane pressure does give them pressure around the Baron pit because someone has to go answer that, but they don't rotate fast enough towards that Baron pit. Talia needs to shove out the top lane wave, apparently. She really shouldn't need to do that because Rengar was down towards the bot side, Shen was down towards the bot side, pushing out this wave, and he's still there, but Rengar is going to rotate towards that Baron because he knows that once you have pressure in the bot side, you have pressure in the mid lane. You have pressure in the well, you don't have pressure in the mid lane. You have pressure in the Baron pit because someone has to go answer there. So that's why he goes there. That's a flash defensively from Tidy away from that Ashe era, and really nothing's going to happen very much from that. Fizz does go to the bot side, Cassin pushing in the top side, trying to get pressure there. Will help them with the Dragon Pit, but not really a place that he wants to be with everyone from the side of SNG, apart from the Fizz being in the mid lane. They will rotate up towards there since no pressure is to be had on the side of GT in the mid lane. So very questionable positioning or questionable play coming out from the side of GT. I'm not quite sure why the Cassidin is in the top side without more support, let's say, from his team. It is 7-1. 5k difference between these teams, almost 6k difference in gold between these two teams, as they're actually posturing around this Baron. GT looking maybe to start off on Baron, but they don't have Gimgoon. He does have his ultimate available and his teleport, so he does have that. So really good to have him pushing in the bot side as far away as possible, since he's the only one that could really get there so quickly. But Mountain Drake is on the field, so they do have that available. Will help them siege in. Will help them also get these neutral objectives such as other dragons and the Baron. So really want to go get that, especially on the side of SNG, since they don't have any dragons for themselves at all. So they will be going to get that. But Gimgoon is in the bot side. Hopefully he'll he can contest that on his own. So hopefully he'll just keep pushing. He's actually going to back away here with Cassian pushing in the top side. This will go over to the side of SNG. So they do get their first dragon of the game 24 minutes into the game. So looking at the vision game again, much better vision game on the side of SNG. They do have vision all around the mid lane, and they have a little bit of vision around Dragon Pit, but GT also have vision, but that's mostly around the Baron Pit, which is really the high priority right now. So I like that vision from GT. Even though SNG has more vision, it's not necessarily better vision, because there are two control wards on the bottom side. Actually, one just disappeared, so it must have been a normal ward. So they do have two wards in the bottom side, just down from the mid lane in the river there. And I'd like to see them ward around Baron Pit, since that is the only neutral objective that's up at this point. So really unsure as to why they have warding in places where there aren't any neutral objectives available. They need to have the vision of the neutral objectives so that they can contest it, so they can start it if they get map pressure in the right places, since they do have Fizz in the bot side with teleport available, so he will be able to teleport to that Baron if they want to start off on it. So I'd like to see them get the vision down there. And Shen is going to that bot side to defend it, to try and neutralize that push and then get the push pushing in their advantage. So really, they should, neither team want to pull the trigger on this. It's kind of frustrating to watch because neither team want to pull the trigger, but one team has to pull the trigger, and it really should be the side of SNG. They have such a better start to this, and as I say that, one whiffed arrow away from Shelly. Shelly manages to dodge that away, does have the red buff, but so does Fury. So really, they should have done that from so much closer if they wanted to try and start off and try and get a pick onto Shelly, since GN does have a seismic shove available, will allow him to knock her back and get a pick onto her. Does have that untapped ground, which also do damage and give a slow as well. So I'm unsure as to what they're doing, what their thought processes are right now, as they are going to shove in this top wave, which is really good. Get that farm out and make sure that they don't have that slow pushing in the top side, as Fizz is going to be constantly pushing in that bot side. We'll be able to fight this Shen eventually, maybe even now, but they're not really looking to fight, as Fizz is very low on mana, almost completely out of mana. Does have his ignite available though, as Fire Rain does get a nice stun, nice bit of damage down onto Yoon, but Jian is there to back him up, so won't be picked off quite as of yet. So if we look at the bot side again, always looking at pressure. We're always going to be looking at pressure points in this game, since it's so important with Baron being up, and both teams really want to start off on Baron. So Shen is in the bot side, really good to have. He does have his Stand United available, he has his teleport available, and Fizz is in that bot side as well, pushing it in. Shen is going to back away. I'd like to see him stay there. He doesn't have his Tiamat available though, so I'd like to see him pick that up as soon as possible, so that he can try and fight some. Apologies, I just needed to take a drink there, because my voice is getting a little dry. But looking more at pressure and at vision, there is no vision of that Baron pit. Well, no proper vision of the Baron pit for either team. There's a little bit of vision around the side of the Baron pit because of Caitlyn traps and because of a couple of wards as well, but they are going to siege in this mid lane really easily. Wow, that's loads of damage coming out from them. That ultimate does buy them a little time, but they're not really doing much, and Stand United was used. Doesn't really have any effect though. He wasn't going low, he wasn't almost dying, he wasn't really being focused, as SNG just wanted to back away, so I'm not quite sure why they want to use Stand United quite as of yet. But they do have pressure in the top side. Top side is pushing in their favor, so someone will have to go answer that relatively soon. Kassan looking to push in the bot side a little bit, even though he has to put more priority in defending the mid lane, and maybe looking to make a pick onto the enemy team. He does have his ultimate available, and Xiao Yu is looking to flank them, but don't really have the engage from Gimgoon or anyone else, as Xiao AL does pick up that red buff. It almost went over to Shelly there. Shelly looking to use that Piltover Peacemaker to pick it up, but neither team really wants to pull the trigger at this point. They are dancing a little bit around the Baron. Pings coming out from either team, but nothing really doing, as a Voidless will pick up this Rift Skull. Well, we'll use that passive to pick up the Rift Skull in the next minute or so. But they are all backing away. This gives great pressure around Baron Pit to the side of GT. But GT aren't using this pressure. Everyone backed away from Baron. They have their Infernal Drake. They have great power from Shelly. They have great power from Fire Rain. They have great power from Xiao Yu. They aren't using the pressure that they got given to take Baron. They could have bursted it down so easily. It was only a Voidless available to try and contest it. So it makes no sense why they didn't try and go for it. They could have disengaged. They could have peeled away from Baron and gone for the fight. Nothing really doing, nothing really that they can try and do to fight them, since they have two tanks on their team to the no tank really to speak of on the side of SNG, and they have so much damage from Fire Rain and Shelly, and even from Tidy. He has the Leandri's Torment at this point, Haunting Guys at this point. So he is still able to do damage himself, so I don't see why they didn't do it, but they didn't, so no point talking about it any further, as Ocean Drake has spawned onto the map. Again, not really a high priority Drake, so nothing really much doing there. Much more priority to get the pressure down on bot lane, which again, going back to pressure, they're constantly trading pressure in the bot side, with Shen going down, pushing out the bot wave, and then Fizz comes to answer it. They both go answer it. They have a little bit of a back and forth, and one of them backs away. Usually it's going to be whoever has the wave in favor of them, backs away, and then the other pushes it, and then they are going back forward. That's the way it's been the entire game. But they are shoving in the mid lane. They will be able to get this inhib back. Inhib will allow them to get pressure everywhere else. But look at Caston. He's in the top lane. He will be using his teleport to come in. He does cancel that teleport in the end as Weaver's Wall does come in, blocks them off. Fizz does come in as well. Fish does get used, locked up by that root collar, will get taken down in the end. Over to Fury. Zhao AL is looking for more. Zhao Yu is looking to get away, but those untapped ground does back them off, back them away, get them the space that they want, and they want to shove in this bot lane now. So they're definitely going to get this bot lane. They have so much damage from that Ashe, from the Talia, from everyone on their team really, apart from Voidless's Ivern, who's building that utility banner of command. He does have that redemption available as well. Really, that's what Voidless wants. He wants to keep his team alive and get them the picks. Using that root color does get them into the fray. Not really the engager like Zhao AL is, but he's really there to try and support his team. He's basically another support, and that's really how it's working out for them. But they have that Mountain Drake, so they could take that bot lane tower so quickly, so easily, and it's really not going in favor of GT in this game. I think it might be a little bit of a drafting issue. I don't like them having picked that Shen into the Fizz. They know that Fizz is a tank shredder, as Zhao Yu is going so low here. Spare's Refuge has been used, but Gimgoon is on the wrong side of the fight as he's going to engage a 3v1. Cassian is coming in, does use Zanya's to buy himself a little bit of time, but he's gonna be blown up. Does go over the wall, but he gets chased, and Fury picks up a kill for himself as Shelly's trying to clear this wave away because it has super minions in it. So they will be able to rotate to the Baron. They don't have pressure in the bot side. They don't have pressure in the top side. They will be able to burst this down. They have their Mountain Drake. They have the damage. And nothing really can be done on the side of GT to try and contest this. They might try and hop over the wall to try and actually steal this away. Weaver's Wall used a little early. Mightn't be able to block them off for very long since it does dissipate. And they aren't looking to really peel from this Baron very much. It's at 3k health. Fizz will pick up another kill on the backside of the Baron pit, but Zhao Yu is there. That's a fish being used as Shelly goes down to Fizz. That's a 5 kill Fizz. So tanky, so much damage as well. They do pick up the Baron as well. So it's a 5-man Baron buff and 3 kills. Very poorly played from GT so far. GT aren't playing this very well. They saw Fizz coming. Fizz got Tidy, picked up that Maokai. Shelly should have backed off immediately as soon as Tidy saw the Fizz, because they should have known that Fizz was coming for him. This is going to be a 3-man defend against Baron Apparent Minions and 5 champions and Daisy. They will not be able to defend this. They have Mountain Drake against them, so they were able to pick up the mid lane inhibitor, which they already had. They have top lane inhibitor. They could just shove in the bot lane. Bot lane wave pushing against them doesn't really matter at this point. They have Baron Apparent Minions, so they can just send that Talia, send that Fizz to the bot lane and just shove it out. So look at this again. Tidy just gets picked off, and Shelly doesn't decide to get out, actually comes back. Fizz uses that fish, slows her down, uses that empowered auto attack, and just picks up an easy double kill. So really not sure why he even stuck around, because Fizz, he's far too tanky for the Caitlyn to even deal with, even if he didn't have as much of the damage. He has Majai's Soul Stealer now, actually, so he'll have that much more AP. He has his trading force. He's actually at full build, 36 minutes into the game, 10k gold lead for SNG. They will be able to easily shove out this bot lane, siege in this bot lane inhibitor tower, get the inhib, and go for the finish. And they're looking to actually defend this, which is, I mean, it's kind of what they have to do, as Gian is actually going to go very low does get that redemption, keeps him alive, but Gimgoon is also very low as the ultimate does come out from the Maokai. Zhao Yu does get picked up on the backside of that fight by the Fizz. That's a 6-0 Fizz, nothing really they could do. But as I was saying, they tried to defend that, nothing really doing. They had no choice though, they couldn't really let that go to the side of SNG, and they couldn't really do anything about it either way, so they just had to do it. Fire Rain does go in, uses Zhonya's, does buy himself some time, will not be able to pick up a kill though, does go down to Fury. They will be able to pick up another tower for themselves. This is going to be game. That's game 1 over to SNG. Best of 3, first game 1. So there was a lot of mistakes coming out from GT in that game. They just didn't pull the trigger when they could have, and it really cost them by playing so passively. They need to be a far more proactive team in this best of 3, and they really just let so much pressure and vision go over to SNG that it just really got out of hand, and they just couldn't grasp it. They couldn't try and claw back a lead. Well, claw back into the game and then maybe get a lead. They never actually had a lead. So they just played it not very well at all. I wouldn't say they played it horribly. It's just they were far too passive in the game, I think, and it just really didn't help them out. And I hope that they'll draft a more aggressive comp in the next game. Maybe they could take away that Ivern, because the Ivern helped out quite a lot in that game. It wasn't really MVP material, but it really helped facilitate all of the moves that they did because they had that double redemption available. So they knew that once one redemption was used, they still have another one available so that they can still make the plays. So maybe take away the Ivern, put them onto maybe Elise or Elysian, depends on what you want to pick up for yourselves. I'd like to see them pick up something, maybe of an early game jungler like the Elise for themselves, and take away that Ivern, and maybe just draft a more aggressive comp. So we'll just have to wait and see how they will draft in the next phase, but I wouldn't like to see them back on that Rengar. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Demacia Cup. Best of three between SN Gaming and GT. I am your host, TheTrueDarxil, and I'm very happy to be with you here for these games. In the first game, we saw GT not do very well. They were outplayed in every aspect of the game, in my opinion, and I'd like to see them play a more aggressive comp in this game. Maybe better drafting. They went for Cassidon, which I think is a little bit of a questionable pick. It's very good in solo queue, but besides that, I'm not quite sure if it would really work well in competitive or not. Rengar, it's a good pick, but I don't think it really worked for their team comp. Shen, not quite sure why they picked that last pick into a Fizz top lane, which they know is a tank shredder. So I'd like to see them maybe draft a little more smart in the next game. So Zhao AL obviously is the MVP for that last game. SN Gaming's top laner went 6-0-5 on that Fizz. 349 farm and 18,791 damage. That is quite a lot of damage and quite a lot of farm and a really good KDA, so no wonder he is the MVP for SN Gaming's first game against GT. So we will be getting into Champions Select very soon, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you worry about that, and we'll see exactly what these teams have decided to do, what their strategies are, and how they aim to win the game. Last game, it was just a utility, run it down mid comp, where it was like play the game properly, go for top lane, well, go for mid lane, get mid lane inhib, go top lane, get top lane inhib, go bot lane, force them to defend bot lane, and just stay bot, siege it, and get bot lane inhib, push them back, get the Nexus, win. And it played flawlessly. Well, almost flawlessly. They made a number of mistakes, but they played it well. So I'd like to see them go for a very similar team comp on the side of SN Gaming, and I'd like to see them mix it up quite a lot on the side of GT, but we'll just have to wait and see what the team comps will show when we get into get into Champion Select, I should say, a bit late when we get into game, to try and analyze picks and bans. Since picks and bans will already have been done and gone, we will be getting into Champion Select very soon. And just to talk a little bit about the vision in the last game, since vision is so important in this game, is that GT were outplayed in vision as well, because they didn't have the appropriate vision around Baron. They didn't. I'm quite surprised that they didn't try and steal the Baron, because Fizz was around the top side fighting against Tidy's Maokai, and then got a double kill by killing the Caitlyn, but he didn't even try to steal the Baron. He didn't use his thrill of the hunt to go in and to try and get that 50-50 smite down, which actually would have been worth it, since they had nothing to lose at that point, because of the fact that they were so far behind. It was better to prevent them from getting Baron and die rather than leave them have Baron and not die. So I'm quite surprised that he didn't try and go for that 50-50 smite. I would have really recommended that he did, but obviously I'm not there. I'm here in Ireland, they're in China, and nor am I a high elo player, so it's just my understanding of the game and how I think it should have gone. Perhaps he thought otherwise, or maybe he just maybe it went against his instincts or something like that, but in the end he didn't try and contest the Baron, and they ended up losing. But we are into Champions Select, my friends, for game 2 of this best of 3 between GT and SN Gaming. We do see SN Gaming banning out Mordekaiser again, probably a target ban. I don't know what these teams or these players really like to play, or what their priority is, where their priority is placed. But we do see very similar bans to the last game, with Galio being banned down and double support bans so far between Zyra and Karma. So it looks like they might be going for that Maokai support again, or going for a very early pick on the support, so that they won't have that pinched away from them. They do have first pick, so they might first pick the support, and then there won't really be any supports available for Yoon. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a support first pick. They do pick the Ashe first, actually take that away from Fury, who played it in the last game, played it very well, did have that hard CC to be put down, and they take Twitch in reply to this. Another very good high tiered AD carry, which will really scale so well into the late game. And they do put Zhao AL back on that Fizz, although he does have teleport flash, so it could indicate that it is going to Dian in the mid lane, but Game Talent does not know what summoners they have, so they have no idea where it's going to go. They're more than likely going to guess that's going to be in the top side, back on Zhao AL, whereas with the summoners indicating that more than likely would be on Dian in the mid lane. However, those summoners could of course change, and it could go back over to Zhao AL in the top side, as they do pick their support. It will be Braum. It was very likely, and very it was very likely that they'd pick it in the first rotation, and very unlikely that they'd leave it to the second rotation in case they will get it pinched away from them, get the champion pool pinched even more from the side of SN Gaming. They do pick up Lee Sin as their jungler, very good early game jungler, and Lolit does pick up that Kha'Zix for himself, so very interesting to see how that will work out. I don't really like the fact that he picked up Kha'Zix. I'd like to have seen him pick up something like the Elise or Lee Sin. Elise has been banned out, so he can't pick that up, so it kind of has forced him back onto something else. But I'd like to have seen him pick something maybe like the Gragas jungle. It does have the tankiness, have that damage as well, and have that great gank potential, even from level 2 or 3, where he has the flash body slam, can use that cask, use that Q to get the slowdown, get the damage down. So I'd like to have seen him pick that up for himself, as LeBlanc, Thresh, Syndra, and Kled have all been banned out. Very interesting bans coming out from both teams. Team GT banning out the Thresh, thinking that that is the biggest priority that Yoon will have. It does leave open Nami, though. It does leave open very little supports, so more than likely that Nami will be locked in. Syndra being taken away from the mid laner of SN Gaming. More than likely that it will be that Fizz right now, going to that mid lane, just because of the summoners being selected at the moment. Could of course go back to the top side. We did see him play it very well in the last game. He did get MVP for it, so wouldn't be surprising at all for that to go back to the top side. But they really don't want to take LeBlanc, to fight LeBlanc or Kled in the mid lane. So they don't want to fight LeBlanc in the mid lane, and they don't want Gimgoon to have that Kled. So it could be something that's a little bit more squishy, a little bit less mobile in the mid lane. So it could, I doubt it will be something like the Rise, because that plays very well into the LeBlanc. Could have been something like the Victor, but that might be being taken away. Fiora in the top side against the Fizz will be a very interesting game. Can really hard snowball, and if it does, then it can really help actually just carry the game so hard. Banning out the LeBlanc and picking Orianna, very interesting. It's kind of a counter pick, since Orianna can miss her shockwaves because of the distortion of the LeBlanc, so it can be quite a headache for the Orianna player. But interesting to decide to get rid of Kled, because Fizz will go tank, mostly tank. He will go off tank with that Trinity Force that we saw him use in the last game. So it was just a little bit of a fooling of us with the summoners. But it was always possible that it could have gone to the mid lane. Fizz is obviously hugely a mid lane player, well, a hugely a mid lane champion, since if you build him full AP, he is super super good. Um, so it could have really gone to the mid lane there, but it does go over to Sao AL in the top side again. And these are your teams, ladies and gentlemen. Fire Rain on that victor into Dian's Orianna should be one of the best matchups we'll see today, since it is such an interesting matchup. And bot lane will really, late game, should go in favor of that Twitch. Because even with the stand behind me and the unbreakable from the Braum, once that goes down, Spray and Pray will come out and just destroy the Ashen Braum, who will have that tick 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 damage from his passive, from his poison, which will really do a lot of damage for him. Plus, he has that disengage from the Nami tidal wave and from the Nami bubble. Double bubble, as we all know, spells trouble. So, really going to be interesting to see this game and see how it plays out. The one thing that is worrying me on the side of GT is that Kha'Zix can be so good, but only if you can get a pick really towards the late game. If he has not get fed at all, if he hasn't gotten fed at all, he just really will really not do very well. But we are on to the Rift, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, game 2 of this best of 3 for the Demacia Cup. SNG versus GT. Should be a good game, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it. So we see the standard 5-man spread from both squads, as actually it's not quite the standard 5-man spread, as the Twitch is in the top lane, trying to bait in the Fjord, is getting that proc of the empowered auto attacks. Xiao AL deciding to back away, getting his health back up, as does Gimgoon, and we do see that Twitch is going back towards that bot side, deciding to go where he's meant to be and help his jungler out. Will be starting off on the blue buff, it looks, since he is rotating towards that bot side part of his jungle. Very unusual start for Lee Sin, especially with Orianna as his mid laner, since she can use that ball, get that damage down, give him a great leash. But Fizz looks to be starting off on the red buff, getting that red buff start for himself. And he is indeed starting off on that blue buff. It's a pretty good start. We'll give him that cooldown, we'll give him that extra little bit of help in his clear because of the cooldown, but he doesn't really need it for the mana or anything. So I'm kind of surprised that he didn't go for the Raptor start, as I said, because of the help that Orianna can give with the Q, with the command attack. Will give him that extra leash that would be so good in this matchup. In that jungle start. So unusual that he decided not to start off on that. But if we look around the map, bot lane is already going heavily in favor of Shelly and Tidy, starting to get that pressure down in the bot lane, even though we wouldn't really expect for Fury and Yoon to get much pressure down in that bot lane until later on, when they could start to make these picks, to make these decisions, to go in and try and get a pick, try and get a kill down onto the bot lane. And he has started off with that Dorn Shield, which seems to be a pretty standard start on Ashes nowadays, seeing it a lot in competitive play because of the amount of utility it gives you. It does start you off with 2 pots, does give you that basic attack damage negation, so that's really good for it to have, and it really seems to be working out for specifically Ashes lately. You don't really see it on anyone else in competitive play yet, but Fizz does start off with that Dorn Shield as well in the top side, so we'll just have to wait and see how this will turn out. And if we look towards the top side, Playful Trickster has been used, but he doesn't have the mana to try and follow up on this. Lee Sin looking for a gank here, but you know, nothing really doing. He does go and pick up that Gromp. He does have double buffs here. Will try and get a pick onto this Fiora. Fiora doesn't have the vision in that bush that I can see. Gimgoon really flourishing with the edge here. Does get the proc of that passive down onto Xiao Al, but doesn't really get Lee Sin to stick around for very much longer than he has to. And if we look back towards the bot side, again, it's always pressure in favor of Shelly and Tidy. Doesn't allow Lollet to give even a second chance in that bot side, but he is actually rotating towards the bot side because they're just going to let them push in. They have the pressure, they're just going to let them push in then, and then they can get a pick onto the bot lane of SNG. So this is really good for them, but they're not really doing it very well. They're trying to bait them into fighting rather than letting them push in the wave, which would make them really be able to get a pick onto the low mobility champions in that bot side. Lollet does back away, does go to base to finish his hunting item, or to try and get further in his hunting item. Both junglers actually really even right now, and neither really getting any jungle ganks off yet. So if we look at the vision, there's barely any vision on the map at all. The one ward that you could spot on the map just died in the bot side. It was placed by the side of GT, who are really heavily pushed in that bot lane, but nothing really doing. Lee Sin isn't looking to make a gank on them at all. There's no vision available for them in that bot side, apart from that one river bush which they just warded there. So really not putting the pressure priority or the gank priority anywhere at this point. Does have that safeguard, gets the Q down, does get first blood over to SNG. Very well played. I was kind of surprised that they actually got that, but Lollet is there to try and get a reply kill. He does use a safeguard to get to Gideon, but Gideon is there. Oh, he gets a kill, does pop him with those with that I forgot the name of it, with the Vorpal spikes. Does actually pop him with the Vorpal spikes and pick up a reply kill. So that's one kill a piece to each jungler. I actually completely forgot the word Vorpal for a second, so apologies for that. Can't remember everything at once. But the topside pressure is going in favor of Gimgoon. Maybe it's one of these champions that he's much more comfortable on. He seemed a little less comfortable in the last game on that Shen. Shen seemed to be well, it was a little bit of a lackluster pickup of a champion in that top side, in my opinion. So not really something you want to take into a fizz. So I like that they changed it up and that they picked Fiora in the top side, because she's a really hard carry champion. So she'll just hard carry later in the game, and Fizz won't punish her as much for being a carry rather than punishing the Shen for being a tank like he did in the last game. So that's 2 Darxils picked up actually for Xiao Al. So really looking to make those plays in the top side. So I think that's indicative of where Lee Sin will make his jungle paths later on. Ooh, that is a nice pickup from Gimgoon. Does say thank you very much for that leash. And Moppet, he wasn't in the last game, I'm fairly sure. So they did switch around some of these team members during that break. Ooh, that's a nice Fizz ultimate. Doesn't quite do much though, as Gimgoon is in the wrong place at the wrong time, as Moppet is there to get the follow-up. Ooh, he just about gets away with his life. That's a flash aggressively, does use the shockwave, does get that kill in the end as Jian picks up his first kill of the game. Very well played, but Gimgoon almost got the solo kill on the top side. Did riposte what the Fizz was throwing out, got the fish down onto Fiora. Doesn't quite have the damage though, and Lee Sin was in the right place at the right time, but doesn't quite pick up the kill. Does thankfully get picked up by Diana in the mid lane though. So this will really help that Orianna start to snowball and really start to do damage against Fire Rain. So everything at this stage going in favor of SNG. It's like the last game. They're just in the right place at the right time, punishing these mistakes coming out from GT. Not necessarily horrible mistakes or big mistakes, but there are small mistakes that are being really punished. Like Gimgoon didn't have the warding in that top side, didn't see that Lee Sin was coming, otherwise she would have probably backed away further or sooner, giving respect to that Lee Sin being 1-1. But right now, Zhao AL isn't really having any backup to speak of. Orianna is still in mid lane and Lee Sin is rotating towards the bot side, so she can make a play in the top side. Lola is also there to back her up, but Fizz is not having any of it, not responding, not taking the bait. And he's 17 CS ahead at almost 10 minutes into the game. So really everything going in favor of SNG at this point. So 10 minutes into the game, warding has changed a little bit. They will be starting off on this Mountain Drake. No vision of it for the side of GT. They will be bringing this out, making sure that they can't just steal it away. Actually, they will be disengaging from this since Lolit and Fire Rain are nearby, and it could facilitate a roam from the bot lane up towards that Drake pit. And it is a more contested pick since it will give them that true damage onto neutral objectives and neutral jungle monsters such as the Baron and other Drakes and the Elder Drake. So it's a really good thing to pick up. It will really help with sieges. So they will really be able to, if they pick that up, siege in all the towers and all the neutral objectives such as the towers and the inhibs. And also the Nexus to speak of, but that won't be till later on in the game, and it will really help them take down the Baron, which will also help them siege, and Rift Herald is also available, so they could start off on that if they want to with it. So lots of choice for these two teams. Gimgoon actually starting to close that CS gap, but it's still 10 CS in favor of Zhao AL, as that shockwave does go wide. He doesn't quite have the range for it or have it in the right place, as Fire Rain just dodges out of it. But they are looking to start off on this Mountain Drake again. Lee Sin is dancing around that part of the map, does have the ward coverage, does have the Rift Scuttle, so he will be able to spot out if Lolit is going to be nearby. He does start off on it. He will be able to solo this away. He does have the damage, he does have the tankiness as well, and nothing really that Lolit is going to do to try and stop that. He is going to his Krugs and then will be rotating towards that pit according to his pings, but really that would be too little too late, as Moped does ward over the wall, does get the vision for himself, so he knows he is free to back away. And Fizz is backing away from the top side, hasn't really engaged or looked to engage anything whatsoever at this point. Is building tankiness, will probably be building into Sunfire Cape at this point. Does go Bami Cinder. He does have his Ninja Tabbies available as well. Fury is looking to make the engage, as that's the stand behind me. Bubbles knocks him up. Tidal Wave forces the flash out of Tide. He does use Glacial Fissure. Will he be able to disengage this though? He doesn't have the disengage really. He actually does get picked up by Fury, as that was a very nice Ash Arrow trying to get the disengage. Sao picks up another kill for himself. That's a flash defensively, but Shelly is going to be picked up. That's a double kill for the Fizz. That's going to be 2 kills for that Fizz now. Really start to snowball. They should have banned this Fizz away from Zhao AL. He played it so superbly well in the last game, picked up MVP. He might even pick up another MVP in this game. So that's almost, well, it's 1,500 gold, getting close to 2,000 gold between these two teams. One Dragon over to the side of SNG and 4 kills ahead, so that's really starting to snowball in favor of SNG. Gimgoon might be able to pick up this top lane tower, will actually be able to pick it up, will be taking some tower shots, but he will be backing away afterwards. Unusual that he's picking up the Hex Trigger as his first item, since Fizz isn't building strict AP, he's building full tank. He isn't even going for his Trinity Force yet. He does have those Dark Seals, which will provide him quite a lot of AP, but apart from that, he doesn't really have much AP to speak of. So he will be going for that Ravenous Hydra on Gimgoon rather than for that Titanic Hydra, which might be a little bit more common in pro play and higher elo play. Fire Rain donating this blue buff over. Lawlet donating the blue buff over to Fire Rain will give him that cooldown, that mana regen that he needs to try and actually defend this mid lane, try to snowball his own lane on his own, since he is 1 kill behind and he's only 4 CS behind, so he just needs a little bit more to try and get his lane ahead, since Orianna will be putting a lot of pressure down and he does have the vision control. He does have great ward coverage, since there is a control ward on either river buff, one I would assume of his own and one of maybe his jungler. It does get spot out a Lawlet with those control wards, and Braum is also around there, so 4 team members around that bot lane river quadrant, so looking to make a pick in the bot lane perhaps, as Victor is actually down there. He is losing pressure in the mid lane, down 10 CS and down 1 kill, but they will pick up this bot lane tower. So that's 2 towers in favor now of GT. No tower has been taken by SNG yet, which is very unusual. They're more of a macro level team rather than just a micro, as that Ash arrow goes a little bit wide, doesn't quite have enough to pick up Fury or to lock him down. They would have been able to get an easy kill on him if they could have gotten that arrow to land, but didn't quite have the good enough aim for it, so they won't be able to make much of that in the end. So very much at this stage looks like it might be going 2-0 over to SNG over GT, but we'll just have to wait and see. They do have much better ward coverage, which speaks to a lot. Warding is so important in this game that it really just, it's almost like having another person on the map because of how important it is. They have about 6 or 7 wards on the map in favor of SNG, and I could see maybe 3 or 4 wards in favor of GT. So that speaks so much, it speaks volumes as to where their priority is and how much it's almost a disrespect to the enemy not to ward, since they don't think that they'll be around. Yoon is in that top side. Actually, Fury is there as well. That's a 4-man gang in the top side, but backing away Gimgoon is, so he won't be able to be taken out there, but they will be able to pick up this top lane tower. So that's going to be their first tower over to the side of SNG, but they will be losing a tier 2. Gideon is there to try and defend it, and Zhao AL is also there, so Tidy has to stand behind Braum and save Shelly, get her to stand behind him and back out. They do have the pressure in the bot lane, though, pressure in the mid lane, but they want to get that tower in the mid lane as well. They do trade tower for tower. Actually, they actually don't. They could have traded tower for tower, but Zhao came along in the bot lane. The Fizz came and defended his territory, so they won't actually be able to trade tower for tower. So that's 2 towers to 1 so far, closing that gold gap a little bit. 800 gold in favor of SNG at this point. Actually, that would have been increasing the gold gap because it was 1 tower in favor of SNG picked up just there. So Dragon will be spawning just now. It is a Cloud Drake, so really not getting great RNGs in these games. In the last game and in this one, they have been getting okay RNGs. They got Mountain Drake first one, in this Cloud Drake now. Looking for a few more mountains, a few more Infernal Drakes. Not really getting that many Infernal Drakes. They do pick up the mid lane turret for themselves, closing that gold gap. 400 gold between the teams now. 3 towers to 1. And 1 dragon to nothing, 5 kills to 1. So very much an even game at this point. Could go to anyone, but very much looks to be in favor of SNG. but GT is getting better with their warding. Does have to flash over the wall to try and get away. Concussive stacks are stacking, and that's another kill going over to GT. Lol, that's 2-1 for this Kha'Zix, doing much better than the Rengar in the last game. But he did let those concussive stacks stack, so really misplayed there. He could have ward hopped over the wall and then flashed over, or he could have flashed over and then ward hopped. Either way, he has so much maneuverability. He has so much movement that he's able to do. I'm kind of surprised he didn't get away with it, but he didn't. So it's really a mistake that got punished. I like seeing players punishing mistakes other players make, no matter how small they are. So Orianna trying to shove in this mid lane. Apologies. Does try and shove in this mid lane, does have a lot of damage, but Yoon isn't a minion, doesn't have that minion wave there to actually get the damage down. There's a tower for tower in the top lane. They have lost a tower in the bot lane in favor of GT. Does use that Chaos Storm. Chaos Storm forces them to back away, does get that spacing that they really want. Bot lane pressure again in favor of GT, so that gives them Baron pressure as concussive stacks start to stack onto Dian, but they really don't care. They have the support of their team, so they want to shove in this mid lane. Baron is spawning right now. Actually, it spawned 10 seconds ago. So Chaos Storm not available at the moment. Tile Wave has been used. They have the minion wave. Shockwave also used. Does get knocked up by the bubble. Has to flash away. Fish has been used as well. Does pick up another kill. That's another kill for Fury. That's a 2-0 Twitch and picks up a kill. I mean, it picks up a tower. So that's really good for them at this point. So having this mid lane pressure, or equalizing the mid lane pressure, is really good, since mid lane tower being gone gives them pressure on both sides of the map, gives them pressure on Baron, gives them pressure on Drake. So we're having actually a nice fight in the bot lane between the two top laners, not really looking to take the fight, even though he's winning it. Zhao is going so low, but on the other side, Fire Rain does pick up a kill onto the Twitch, and Gimgoon is looking to get away. Gideon did pop in, try and get the kill, uses the blast plant, actually does get away. Lunge helps him get away as well, does have that low cooldown, that long range, but they are starting on Baron while they're on the other side of the map trying to get rid of the Fiora. They start on Baron, peel away, laser goes a little bit away. Yoon does get away with his life. Lee Sin is also there to give a little bit of backup, will be clearing away this ward, but Shelly takes a lot of damage from the Baron, so really not very great call there, going for the Baron. Even though Lee Sin wasn't dead, you really need to try and get rid of the jungler, try and incapacitate him in some way, force him to go bot while you want to go Baron, or kill him. That way you'll be able to go for a free Baron, because yes, Orianna can try and contest with the Shockwave, with the command attack Shockwave, and we have seen it in the past in competitive play and in solo queue, or in less competitive low stakes environments, where they have stole out with ridiculously simple things like that. But it's less likely than with a smite. Fish goes awry as under tower Gimgoon is taking a load of damage, does use that Bork active, but will he be able to pick up a kill? He does pick up a kill in the end, but in comes Lollet, does use that ambush to get away. Lollet was too little, too late there. That's a 0-2 Fiora with that Ravenous Hydra, can't do anything against anyone. It's really sad to see Gimgoon do so badly in both games. 2 games in a row, he's suffering for an entire game, and he's really just been so unlucky. He's been 2 or 3 man ganked in both games. Perhaps it's because he's a good player, I don't know. Zhao AL is looking to get this tower, as Fury is there to help pick him up. If he needs it, he doesn't need it in the end, but he is quite low on health. He will recall Fury, maybe rotate towards the mid lane since they have gotten bot lane pressure, but Gimgoon is there to answer it. He does have his teleport available, will be able to teleport in if they need help around Baron. They are looking to take Baron, have this Baron dance on the side of GT, with pings coming out from that team. They are clearing away some of the vision, but they don't know that ward is there. They do clear away some of the vision along the river though, which is really good for them, because that way they won't know where they are and they don't know about a Fnatic Death Bush perhaps. So Moped does miss that Sonic Wave, doesn't quite get a pick out to that. They aren't going to be spotted out here. Control ward has been placed, but everyone on the side of SNG are backing away. Blast Plan isn't available yet, but they have the liberty to just engage the Baron because everyone has not disconnected. Everyone has disappeared. Everyone has backed away. Fizz is in the bot side as well. Orianna is in the mid lane, rotating towards the top perhaps. Fiora is in the mid lane, keeping her there. And they're trying to get the top lane tower as well. They don't have the siege potential. They have the wave clear from the Victor, wave clear from Shelly. Shelly has the siege potential as well, but they don't have any siege potential with the mid laner. Fire Rain is not a sieging champion with this Victor, but they can do the wave clear, so they're really good for pushing in the waves and then going for a nice comfortable Baron. Fiora is in the bot side. Gimgoon does have his teleport available, but no one is making any plays, no one making any engages. But Dragon is coming up in about 10 seconds time, so they will be able to pick that up if they want. They have the pressure because of mid lane in favor of what looks to be GT at this point, even though they have less wards. Wards actually being quite even at this point, although a little lackluster from both teams. Not very many wards across the map. Blast Plant has been used just to prevent them from using that against them. Yoon is there with Moped, looking to clear out some of the vision, make sure that they can't start off on Baron or try and contest it if they want to start off on it themselves. Ping is coming out of caution around the Baron pit. They will be starting the Baron dance very, very soon. Ocean Drake has been picked up for the side of GT. That's going to be their second Ocean Drake of the game, if I'm not mistaken. It might be their only Drake actually of the game. 25 minutes into the game, one dragon each. Actually, that is 2 dragons to 1. It just hasn't shown up yet. That is their second Ocean. Be really good for out of combat mana regeneration and health regeneration. So if they want, they can do this Baron dance all day, every day, because they can just regenerate in bush. They can just start the Baron, peel away, take the fight, disengage, then heal up, then come back into the fight, and everyone on the side of SNG have to back away because they don't have the regeneration. So it's so much better for them. Actually, that's Cloud Drake, not Ocean Drake, my apologies. So that's out of combat movement speed, so it's completely useless for them at this point, as Zhao picks up another kill. Teleport is coming in, and that is going to be a 4 versus 5 as Zhao is going very low. Chaos Storm has been used. Gimgoon doesn't get caught up by the Sonic Wave, by the Shockwave, but that's a 2-man Shockwave, very good for disengaging. 8-3, and they still can't take the fight. It's 45,000 gold to 45,500 gold between the two teams. Barely anything between them. They really are on a knife's edge at this point. Neither team wants to engage because of the fact that they might be misengaging. GT didn't want to engage that and forced SNG to back away anyway because they were 4v5. SNG should have taken that fight but didn't want to because they were under tower. They didn't have any of the summoners or any of the, well, actually they had the summoners available, but they didn't have any of the ultimates available that they wanted, such as that tidal wave, such as the spray and pray, such as the shockwave from the Orianna. So they really couldn't do anything there. They really just want to shove out the lanes. Twitch is in the top lane, Fiora's in the bot lane, shoving that out. So Zhao AL wants to go to that bot side, fight that fight that Fiora, try and win that. But it's really iffy at this point. He does have Trade Force, he does have his spirit, some Fire Cape, but Fiora has a lot of things going for her as well. Does have her Ninja Tabby, her Hex Drinker will keep her alive a little bit longer. He does have her Ravenous Hydra as well, so it's a little bit questionable whether Zhao will win or not. More than likely he will, because he has those 2 very well stacked. He does have those 2 very well stacked Darxils, so he would more than likely win that matchup, but really not something that they want to try and chance. And again, looking around the map at this vision, mostly towards the top side, that is a flash away from you, does get away from that Ash arrow, but Moped was in a lot of trouble. That was one whiffed tile wave as everyone on the side of GT is backing away. Fiora is rotating towards the mid lane, actually rotating back towards the bot lane, looking to push that out, get that in favor of themselves so that they can get a slow push going. But the side of SNG are rotating towards the Baron, maybe looking to bait this. They're going to actually clear out the vision and start off on the Baron, but where is the jungler from GT? GT is actually there back farming in the jungle, but they will back away from this. Fish goes awry. They don't actually get the engage that they're looking for. They will pick up this Rift Scuttle. They will get that vision down, but Fiora is pushing in the bot lane. No one's going to answer that. They will get that push in the bot lane. She will continue to do this as they're going to try and stop the backs by pushing in the mid lane. They will get damage down onto this bot lane inhibitor tower. It will go down to almost half. She doesn't have the wave available. We'll have to wait 2 or 3 seconds longer to get that wave, but Fizz is actually finally going to answer that. But they're sieging in the mid lane so easily, so quickly. They get that tower. Top lane has to be responded by someone. Someone needs to answer that pushing wave. Someone is pinging there. They are going to go back. Actually, it's going to be Ashe that's going to respond to that top lane wave. With Lollet responding in the jungle, going back to farming his wolves, which he was doing before that Baron dance even began. We do see Orianna picking up that blue buff for herself, farming up again in that jungle, but really, again, 200 gold between these two teams, really nothing to speak of between them, and neither wants to pull the trigger. They want to disengage from any fight that happens in case they do something wrong, and it's really not going to happen, because they need the Fizz. They have that ball delivery system in the Fizz. He needs to use his Urchin Strike, get in with the ball on him, use that shockwave, use Playful Trickster, just blow everyone up, spray and pray, tidal wave. We have that Dragon's Rage from Moped. It's just everything in favor of the side of SNG at this point. That is one whiffed. Fish does use that Bork going very low from Zhao. Might be able to pick up a return kill. No, he doesn't in the end. Fury picks up a kill. Does have very little in favor of Zhao actually fighting that Fiora. Can't 1v1 him at this point somehow. Does have that Trade Force and that Ravenous Hydra, but they will be able to start off on this Baron. Will be actually clearing out the vision. Will be decided to start off on it because Lee Sin is actually around the mid lane, so we'll be able to try and contest that, and they don't have the Victor available or the Fiora, and everyone is available on the side of SNG, so neither side wants to make any moves in case they do something wrong. So they are being very reactive to each other. So it's reactive to reactive rather than proactive reactive, which is what we normally see. So he does go over the wall, does get the vision down, does clear away some of the vision. So really, this is a vision Baron dance rather than a physical Baron dance, which is what we're used to. We're used to seeing posturing defensively around the Baron area, and making sure that they don't want to start off on it and try and get a pick onto whatever champion maybe gets caught out of line, gets caught out a little bit out of position. But that is really not what's happening here. It's more of a contestation of vision. Fiora is in that bot side again, does have that teleport available. Fizz hasn't gone down to try and respond to that because it isn't at the halfway point. It isn't anything that he really needs to go and answer right now. It will be a 4v5 if they can pick a fight, but they aren't picking a fight. They're looking to go start on Baron, but Lee Sin isn't there. They are actually starting off on Baron. Lee Sin isn't there. Now Lee Sin's there, but Fiora's in the bot side. No one responding from the side of GT. They're bursting this down so fast. It's almost at half health. Now they're starting to respond on the side of GT. Will they peel away? Ash arrow hits onto the Orianna. Tile wave does get used, but in goes the support. Does get picked up. That Baron actually gets taken by GT. That's very well done by him. He does get his life taken by it, though. Fiora is pushing in the bot side with Baron and power minions. This is going so well for GT. That was very well done by them. I didn't even notice that it was taken by the jungler from GT for a second. There's more concentration on the fight. They will take that inhib. They will be looking for more. Gimgoon is going to fight Zhao AL, but he has the backup of his support. Does use that grand challenge. Will be able to get some of those critical strikes procced, but he is fighting the rest of the team. Will be able to lunge over the wall. Will be able to get away with his life, though ambush has been used. Will be looking for the follow-up. He does have his lunge available. Will keep using that to try and get away, but he does have movement speed from his ambush and from his passive. Does pick up that does pick up that Drake actually, so that'll be a great Drake going over to them. That's actually going to be their third air Drake, if I'm not mistaken, giving them great out of combat movement speed, which actually helps her to get away. So that's huge amount of out of combat movement speed. So that means they can just pop in, pop out whenever they want, and that's what really facilitated them getting that push. They are 3 kills to 10, and they're still winning. They have 6 turrets taken to 3, 3 dragons to 1, and they're doing phenomenally in this game. So there are no neutral objectives available at this point. They have taken an inhib, so someone has to respond to that bot lane tower. If we look at this Baron power play again, well, this Baron dance again, Gideon does get blocked by the Ash arrow, but Flash over the wall, Flash smite gets the kill. Shockwave was used, locks him up, and then tries to jump over the wall, but gets caught out by auto attacks, so he does get picked up, but he facilitates his team getting that bot lane inhibitor, which is so good. They have so much wave clear on the side of SNG, though. They might be able to defend this. We'll just have to see if they can claw back their way into this game. They do have a huge amount more kills, but they are 1,000 gold behind. So it's really an unusual situation where you see that one team is winning even though they have less kills. But it's very interesting to see how they played it, and they're playing it so well, much better than they did in the last game. And look at those super minions knocking it in on the base. Fizz has to go respond to that, but that means they're all split up. Someone has to defend the top lane, someone has to defend mid, someone has to defend all of the lanes, and it's really not feasible. So they're gonna lose the top lane tower. They have to turtle and wait for these Baron empowerment minions to dissipate. They have to wait for Baron to go down, but can they really do that? Bubble goes wide, doesn't even hit any of the minions, but they have a huge amount of wave clear in the Orianna in Fury's Twitch. They even have it in the Fizz somehow, even though he's building full tank. They still have quite a lot of time on this Baron. So Fizz trying to defend the bot lane, Orianna trying to defend it in mid. This is just going all in favor of GT. So that is a Rabadon being picked up by Dian in the mid lane. So that's really going to start to ramp up her power, give her that lot of extra ability power, allow her to be able to burst down her enemies, hopefully be able to get themselves back in this game. There are no neutral objectives available. Baron not available for the next while, for the next 4 or 5 minutes, and same for Dragon. That won't be available for at least the next 2 or 3 minutes. So we'll just have to wait on that. And they have turtled up. They do have their inhibitor respawning pretty soon in the next minute and a half. So they just have to wait for that to come back up before they can start making any rotations around the map. They'll want to shove in this mid lane, shove in all the lanes, actually try and get pressure on one, and they want to try and get, actually, I think, more priority on the LG Drake rather than anything else, because they can then start to siege. They can siege so well with that, with the LG Drake empowered Mountain Drake. It would do so many wonders for them, and I think that's where they're really going to put the pressure. So if we look at the mid lane, everyone from the side of GT are looking to shove in this mid lane, because bot lane, it's looking after itself. You don't need to worry about that. There are no neutral objectives to worry about for the next minute and a half. So what they need to do, shove in the mid lane. Mid lane is all they have to worry about, and then they can rotate top lane, because they'll have the inhib taken in the mid lane, then take the top lane inhib, bot lane inhib, push for the win. That's all they'll want to do. Grand Challenge has been used. Fish also used. Will she be able to get away though? She has lunge, does have the 3 Cloud Drakes for to get away, does have that redemption. Redemption does keep her alive. Guardian Angel also available. So really nothing they could do to try and stop that. Glacial Fissure has been used, does not get the knock up, does get the slow though, so really helps flash away from that arrow, does get hit onto that Lee Sin though, pick up that mid lane inhib, will be able to rotate to the bot lane, pick up that inhib. Gimgoon is going quite low though, Redemption is going to come down, keep the side of SNG nice and healthy. Tidy almost being tidied up, but they do get gravity fielded away, zoned away, as Gimgoon is looking for to make a pick onto the jungler. They all have to back away though. They don't quite have the health, as that's a flash defensively from Gimgoon, because Twitch and Nami were there. They might be able to pick her up or at least proc her Guardian Angel. She really doesn't want that. So all they have to do now is rotate towards the top side. Maybe rotate towards Elder Drake first, as Teleport is coming in. That's really aggressively, and then looking for the flank on them. The side of GT are trying to back away, but Fish goes awry. That's a flash defensively from Fire Rain. Will be able to pick up a kill before he does go down to the jungler, as Xiao AL is looking for to go down. Actually, he doesn't want to go down, but he doesn't go down in the end. Actually, GIM Gimgoon does pick up a kill for himself. This will spell the end of the game, I would say, as that's a nice disengage, but doesn't quite have enough. That's a double kill for Gimgoon, as they are going to try and close out this game. That is 3 kills for 1 so far, as Fizz tries to defend this, but nothing really you can do, little fishy. That's a lunge left, right, parry, up, down. We'll be able to keep him at bay, while the rest of the team is actually going to try and finish the game. Does get hit by the real damage from the tower, but that's it. 1-1, tying the series up.